Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be sharing my spoiler thoughts on The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero, which I beat this game the other night and I absolutely loved it. If you couldn't already tell, this is now my third video on the same game. And I did one with my initial thoughts, some minor spoilers for the prologue and first half of Chapter 1, but mainly talking about the gameplay mechanics, some improvements from the Sky games, and my predictions as to what was going to happen in this game, which check back on that video because I was pretty on the money with those predictions, let me just say that. And then I did my spoiler-free thoughts immediately after beating the game, telling all JRPG fans to check this series out. Play the Trails series, man. I played the first 3 Sky games, now I played Zero, and I can't wait to start Azure, which I've been going back and forth with this video for a while now, because if you've been following along with the channel, you may have seen my 3 other Trails in the Sky videos, and the amount of editing and time and effort I put into them. And quite frankly, I can't do that for this game, because number 1, the task is just very daunting. Number 2, I want to start Azure like yesterday, so we're just going to do this sort of like a podcast style format. I will have things on the screen courtesy of the extras menu and my screenshots. But yeah, we're just going to air it all out, and hopefully you guys can enjoy it. I know it's not going to be as technical as those 3 videos, but it is what it is. At least you can hear my unfiltered thoughts, and I hope you enjoy. So, The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero is actually the 4th game in the Trails series, following the Trails in the Sky trilogy, and it takes place 3 months after the events of Trails in the Sky the 3rd. Now, I strongly recommend you play the Sky Trilogy first for a number of reasons. Number 1, the plot threads that began in those games, which are still unresolved, although one of the plot threads that began in Sky's 2nd chapter is resolved at the end of Zero. There's still a ton of other plot threads, in particular Ouroboros, who doesn't even appear in this, well, maybe in a way they appear with name drops and stuff like that, but there's no physical members of Ouroboros who appear in Trails from Zero, so that's a plot thread that's, I don't know. I don't know what that's leading to, but it's going to lead to something. So there's various plot threads. There's all these characters. In particular, there's, I'll say, 3 main characters from the Sky Trilogy who appear in Zero and have a major role. There's also a bunch of minor characters from the Sky games who appear, down to, you know, the generic NPCs like Anton and Ricky, which when I saw them, I'm like, oh, Anton, he's still looking for love, but he can't find his woman, the poor guy, and Ricky's still cheering him on. So there's them. There is just, again, the name drops to certain places like Liberal, Professor Russell, Tita, Phantom Thief B, Blue Bog. So there's so much stuff going on that it just helps if you play the Sky Trilogy first. I mean, you can understand if you start this game, and people do recommend there's 3 different playstyles to playing the Trails series. Just start in chronological order with the Sky Trilogy, play the Crossbell Duology, or play Cold Steel, because, again, Cold Steel is more like 3D voice acting, stuff like that. English voice acting, I could say, because this game has Japanese voice acting, and let me say, the voice acting was tremendous in this game. Normally, I'll skip through the voice acting if I can read the text faster, but I had to hear everyone's performance because it was just that good. But, yeah, so this being the Crossbell Duology has a new story arc and a new cast of characters, namely the Special Support Section, which is a group of 4 individuals as an offshoot of the police department. Now, we've heard of the Bracer Guild by playing the Sky games, and the Bracer Guild is basically a better version of the police, especially in Crossbell, where the police are very corrupt. They have a bunch of corrupt politicians who are being bought off by the mafia, and things like that. And really, there's only one good detective, I'd say, is Detective Dudley, who we meet later on, and then Chief Sergei, who is the superior of the Special Support Section, and he enlists the 4 individuals, Lloyd Bannings, Ellie McDowell, Tio Plateau, and Randy Orlando, which at the start of the game, they all have very generic and cliche roles, in that Lloyd is your stereotypical good guy, male protagonist, Ellie, stereotypical female protagonist, Tio is the young girl genius, and then Randy is the older brother type womanizer. And they do have those cliches, but as you continue to play the game and learn more and more about their backstories, they have some of the most well-crafted backstories, just, I hate to overuse this word, but really dark backstories of the things that have happened in their past. And you really feel for them, and I ended up loving all the main characters there and the side characters. And this game is broken up into, I guess we'll say 7 chapters. Really, they have 4 chapters numbered, you know, chapter 1 through 4. There's the prologue, there's the intermission, and then the finale. So 7 chapters. And you can do these chapters really quickly if you want to, if you're just racing for the main story. But if you go around talking to every NPC and seeing the life in this game, you're going to get more out of it. You're going to see the secret side quests, do all the different requests and helping people. And it's so funny, like, how the game starts, where, you know, you're the knockoff bracers going around doing simple quests, fighting the monsters on the highway, rescuing kids from the geofront who are being attacked by monsters, trying to find overdue library books. Yes, that's one of the quests. Finding one of the guys lost his wife's engagement ring, a lost kitten. There's all sorts of fun quests like that. And then later on, when you meet Anton in Chapter 3, you have to help him find the girl who found his wallet so he could find love again. But as you continue with that, you end up getting more intense requests, such as stopping the 2 rival gangs in the downtown district, to figuring out that the 2 rival gangs are being sold a front by the Mafia. The Mafia is instigating them behind the scenes. You have 2 rival Mafias, Ravach and Heiyui. And as that continues, you learn about the drug trafficking they have going on. And in the end, when you think it's the Mafia and these gangs as the main villains at the start of the game, it turns out that the real villains are part of an evil, devil-worshipping cult called the D, therefore G cult. And the villain is the most unsuspecting man you'll ever see. I wasn't expecting it whatsoever. And playing the Sky games, it's like, man, I just have to expect that the most generic random character is going to end up being the big bad in each one of these games, right? Because I did not expect Weissman to be the villain and part of Ouroboros in the Sky trilogy, but hey, that happened. Well, really, Sky first chapter and second chapter, because Sky the third was more Kevin's story, but that's beside the point. And again, I do have to keep prefacing, you gotta play the Sky trilogy, especially Sky the Third, because of the things it sets up there. They essentially foreshadow the devil-worshipping cult with the shit that happens there, with Kevin's past, and especially what happened with Ren in Stardoor 15. And Ren gets to see her parents' side of the story and learns that they always loved her. And they weren't the ones who pawned her off to the D, therefore G cult, but they were tight on money and had to have her stay with a friend in Calvard, and circumstances ended up not being in her favor, and the cult got a hold of her, and the rest is history. But she was finally able to reconcile with her parents, and that was one of the major driving points at the end of second chapter, after the battle with Estelle and Joshua, and she flew away with Patamater. She wanted to go to Crossbell, and then you see her again in Sky the Third in Phantasma, and Estelle and Joshua are like, oh, we're going to catch you, Ren, we're going to catch you. And you think Ren's motive for going to Crossbell is to see her parents. But you learn more that Patamater was damaged in the fight, so she goes to the Rosenberg studio and has Maester Rosenberg fix it. And then there's also the whole deal with the cult and how one of the high priests of the cult is in Crossbell. So she has 3 reasons for going to Crossbell. And it's just fascinating how everything weaves together. And I'm curious to see, like, which plot points continue, because really, the main plot point of this game is Kie, and what's going to happen with her, and I still think there's more D, therefore G cultists at large, and trying to seek them out. So, let's boot this up, we'll go into the extras, and I'll break down some more of the characters here. Beating this game, it took me, like, I want to say 76, 77 hours. I did everything, I talked to every NPC as much as I could. Did all the quests. I got the trophy for that. Although apparently there's a bonus dungeon. I'll go through that first with the records. But when you go to extras, you get this beautiful theme, and we see the cutest girl ever, Kie, who is really the main focus of this game in the second half. And I think the main focus of Trails to Azure, because I can just look at the cover and see she takes up half the cover, and our other main characters are to the side there. So more on her later. But one note I want to make, and I want to make more of a note of the music later on, is the name of this theme is called Probability of Precipitation 10%. And this is essentially Kie's theme. It plays during the intermission, and then 1 or 2 other scenes of her later on in the game. And it's just a very strange title for the theme, for such an upbeat, positive, relaxing theme. And what I've thought about is it's just one of those days out there where, you know, there's a chance it'll rain, but it's just going to remain sunny out there, and it's bright and beautiful, and it's, I don't know, I thought it was a really interesting name for the song. Just such a great song. The whole OST in this game is fantastic. More on that later. But we'll take a look at some of the achievements here. So this is like the first thing that you get, the detective notebook. And first class detective, that's similar to the bracer points. You get detective points in this game, and I don't know. I did everything, but I couldn't get that for some reason. That's all the monsters. Again, there's supposedly a bonus dungeon. All the quests. So I did all the quests, but I wasn't able to get the other trophies. The recipes, which one thing I really liked about the recipes in this game compared to the Sky trilogy is the fact that you have the ability to craft not just the regular recipe you find, but a supreme and peculiar dish. And they're usually, one's an attack item usually, and the other one heals a lot of HP and revives you or whatever. So that was really cool. All the quartz, I don't know what I missed. All the newspapers and back alley Dr. Glenn books. So one of the books, I want to refer back to the Sky games, was about the Doll Knights. And that has implications to the Rosenberg studio. So I wonder if this back alley Dr. Glenn is going to tie into other stuff that happens in the later games. I'm sure it will. Decorations. So there's a bonding system in this game. And you can increase that by making certain choices of your characters. And also buying decorations for their room. One of the decorations, I love this for Randy. You get a poster of Ilya Platier, which is like the stars of the play that they have in Crossbell. Every treasure chest, I couldn't do that, obviously. Call the fish. Oh, yeah. Lloyd was crowned the divine angler when that was all said and done. That's the supreme dishes and peculiar dishes. So that's when I just sort of cheated and sold all my items at the end and then reloaded my save to get it. Because money is pretty difficult to come by in at least the Sky games. A little easier in this game because you have the IBC, the bank that you can trade your Septus for higher value. So that's what I did. Play for 100 hours. Not quite. I'm a little under 80 hours. So when I eventually do play this game again on New Game Plus, I'll get that. The strongest weapon. Don't ask how long it took me to get to level 50, but I powered through to level 50, which is the max level in this game. And then I'm assuming once you go to Azure, I'll be level 50, because that's how it was in the other games. And by the end of Sky the Third, your max level could be 150. So I wonder if the max level in Azure is 100 or 150. We'll see. 100 victories, 500 victories, 1,000 victories, and 2,000 enemies. Self-explanatory. Preemptive attack. So yeah, in the Sky games, you can go behind the enemy and get a preemptive strike. But now in Zero, not only can you do that, but you can actually use your weapon and attack them from behind to get like critical hit and then a team rush chance. S-breaks, that's like your S-craft. Canceled enemy arts. There's one enemy that constantly, cast, so you just keep fighting him and you'll get it. Survive from critical condition, that's minimal HP. You get tactical points, so if you overkill an enemy, you do a counter attack, you use items, and you start at, 1.00, and the more of that you do, you get up to maybe even more than 3.0%, so that's good. Yeah, you can chain the enemies to get bonuses, defeat 8 enemies at once. I'll show you the S-craft for Randy later. Death Scorpion. How badass is that? That was the prologue. No KO or no fleeing. I didn't run from any battle, by the way. I may have died a few times, but I never ran from any battle. I had a save state and just redid this, but it's kind of difficult. You have to avoid all enemies because the way the Trails games work is they actually reward you. If you're not fighting guys, you'll fight a boss and you'll gain like 2 levels. So you just gotta rise and don't grind. I did beat the game on hard difficulty. I did not beat it on Nightmare just yet. These are some monsters you fight at the end of the game. I don't know where that one is. I think that's another monster. That's like the New Game Plus one. And here's all the different chapters. So that's the prologue, special support section. Chapter 1, Afternoon of Wolves. Chapter 2, Golden Sun, Silver Moon. the anniversary festival, Creeping Wisdom, that's the cult right there, and then the finale. And then these are the choices of the characters. So at the auction, you can decide who to go with, whether you want to go with Ellie, Tio, and Randy. I chose Ellie because I feel like that's the canon relationship, Lloyd and Ellie. And they pretend that they're boyfriend and girlfriend. If you choose Tio, she pretends that she's Lloyd's younger sister. And if you choose Randy, you're just two bros hanging out. And then with the bonding, you can't see the hearts right now, but there's hearts in the bottom right corner. And as you do things such as choose them for the Schwarz auction, buy their decorations, all sorts of other things, you can get the bonding scene in the finale. And I did my save state to get them all. And I'll talk about them in greater detail. So we'll take a look at some of the characters here. And just listen to Kie's voice. She's so cute, man. Like, that's done for Tio. Zeit's the wolf. Randy. Ellie. Tio. So yeah, she just cycles through them. Oh, she's so cute, man. I love Kie. But Lloyd Bannings. Again, this dude, early on, you think he's kind of like the generic shonen protagonist, which, I mean, he is. But as you play the game, he has a lot of excellent backstory. It starts off with him returning to Crossbell after 3 years. And we're in the year 1204, by the way. If I remember right, Sky first chapter takes place in 1202. So we're in 1204 now. And he's returning to Crossbell for the first time in 3 years after staying with relatives in the Calvard Republic. And 3 years ago, he lost his brother, Guy Bannings, who was also a detective. And he died in the line of duty. And Lloyd, at the start of the game, is 18. So when that happened, he was 15. And he just, you know, he lost his brother. I mean, we'd all feel the same way. He didn't know what to do in life and said, let me just go abroad for a while and see what happens. And he got an invitation from Chief Sergei, which you'll learn later on in the game. Chief Sergei worked with Guy Bannings in the police department. So all these guys are connected in a certain way, which is just fascinating. And again, I'd love to go back and replay it and see these things again from a different perspective. But as he's on the train making his way back, you actually see a cutscene, and I predicted this in my initial thoughts video, of them in the final dungeon, and they mentioned Gehenna, which is the hell of the Trails universe, and I'm like, oh shit, it's Gehenna! I was already there in Sky the Third, so I know all about Gehenna. And it's almost portrayed in a way that Lloyd's getting a premonition, but it's really just the player watching it and seeing what's to come, I guess, as a good hook. Which, there's a couple instances like that. A character named Yin, who's an assassin, and even at the end of this game, the special support section doesn't know who Yin is, but we, the player, know who Yin is. And they revealed us that fact really early on. Like, I didn't know who Yin was, but they're like, oh, that's Yin. And I'm like, come on, you can at least let me figure it out on my own, but anyway. So yeah, Lloyd's returning, and he's just thinking about Guy and remembering he has a sister figure. I guess we'll just say sister-in-law, Cecile, who was the fiance of Guy Bannings. They are never married, and she hasn't moved on to a new man yet because she still loves Guy and loves Lloyd as a younger brother. And he has big shoes to fill. He wants to be just like his brother, and that's exactly what he's doing. I think if we changed version here, that's his outfit for the Schwarz auction, which they give him glasses. Wazzy's like, here, put these glasses on. You'll look better, Lloyd. Oh, and that's when he's sleep. There's a couple scenes when he's like sleeping, and that's his pajamas. I love the detail. Look at the character sprites, man. I love the details in all of them. And like the chibi artwork, you notice right there, he's got like no shoes on. Oh man, so cool. Anyway, so here we have Ellie McDowell, who's also 18. And she is the granddaughter of Mayor Henry McDowell, which I should mention that about Crossbell. So Crossbell is an independent city sandwiched in between the Erebonian Empire and the Calvard Republic. And the two of them are not really at war, but they're laying claim as to who rightfully owns Crossbell, and then Crossbell's in the middle, like, oh no, we're our own separate entity. And there's a lot of corrupt politicians. That's one of the underlying plots in this game, is just the corruption with the politicians. And you have Ellie McDowell's grandfather, Henry McDowell, who's like the one good politician in that he's remaining neutral. He's not siding with the Empire, he's not siding with the Republic, and he just wants to maintain Crossbell's independence. And we meet his secretary, Ernest Rice, later on, who actually attempts to assassinate Mayor McDowell. And because the mayor's getting old and he wants to retire soon, and then that happens, like, oh shit, I can't retire just yet. And then we meet Speaker Hartman later on, who is part of the Imperial faction. He's actually the Speaker Hartman. And we learn that he's blackmailed by the Mafia and the D, therefore G cult. And basically, Speaker Hartman's essentially a pedophile. They don't say it, but that's what he is. You could read between the lines and figure out that's his problem. So we got a bunch of fucked up politicians in this game. Lots of dark subject matter. But the reason why Ellie McDowell lives with her grandfather, well, actually now she lives with the special support section, but she's raised by her grandfather because her parents both got divorced. And her father, I think his name was Ryan. I forget his name. Maybe I'm just making that up. But I think his name was Ryan McDowell. And he wanted to become a politician as well and sort of be in the neutral position like Ellie's grandfather, but never made it anywhere. And then his wife divorced him. She went to live in Erebonia, and he went to live in Calvard. And because Ellie was young when this happened and did want to be displaced, Mayor McDowell agreed to look after her, so that's why she remained in Crossbell. And she wants to become a politician herself and follow in her grandfather's footsteps. So that's her. She's like the motherly figure of the group, especially with Tio later on. And I really liked Ellie. I mean, you can say maybe she's the weakest of the main four characters. I'll agree with that. But I thought she had some really sweet moments. There's a scene where you get to explore the Moon Temple. And there's reports that there's ghosts going around, which there are. And she's afraid of ghosts. And just her voice actor's like, ghosts, no. And they're all making fun of her like, Ellie's afraid of ghosts? What do you mean? But yeah, she's a very lovely woman. If you couldn't already tell, she's beautiful, might I say. And that's her when you choose to go to the Schwarz auction with her. And yeah, Lloyd, you gotta tie the knot, buddy. I mean, what's taking you so long? Which Ellie pretty much comes out and says that she likes Lloyd, and Lloyd's like, oh, I don't know what to do. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see more of that in Azure, where Lloyd admits that he likes her, because during the bonding scene, you know, they're getting ready for a kiss. I'll show you the screenshots of that later. But they're getting ready for a kiss, and then there's an alarm to get ready for the final battle. And then, oh, I gotta go. And then he's like, oh, Ellie's cheeks were so soft. Like, why didn't you kiss her, bro? You had your chance. Anyway, here's Tio Plateau, Tio Tot, as Randy calls her. Honestly, my favorite of the main four characters. And my reason for liking her at the start was because she's just this cute little girl who has these snarky remarks to Randy, among other people, but especially Randy. And she does her Tio stare, where the caption will just be like, stare, ... And you'll hear her, she'll be like, "Urgh." She grunts a little, and it's so funny. But she is part of the Epstein Foundation from Lemon State, which we've heard of those phrases before. The Epstein Foundation had some other characters. Albert Russell, I know, was one of them. He's Tita's grandfather from the Sky Games, but there's Russell, Epstein, and I think, I want to say Schmidt? Is that his name? There's like 3 characters from the Epstein Foundation, and she's one of the students testing the orbital staff, which is the staff that fires lasers. So you got that. And her backstory is extremely dark. She was actually abducted by the D, therefore G cultists when she was a young girl. And you hear the first half of the story when just her and Lloyd are exploring the Geofront, looking for this boy named Jonah, who's like this hacker who helps our group later on. And you get the first half of the story where she says that she knew Guy Bannings, he was escorting her home. And then later on, you hear the other half of the story where, yeah, I guess he was escorting her home, but he rescued her from the cultists. And the D, therefore G cultists are the ones who did the horrible things to Ren. They basically abducted a ton of children and ran their experiments with them, giving them these pills known as Gnosis, which with grown adults turns them into devils, demons. It's called demonification, rather. And with the children, they're largely unaffected. They get enhanced abilities. With Tio, she's able to communicate with animals. She can talk to this wolf named Zeit. And she has heightened senses where she can hear things from afar. She has like those little cat ears that heighten her senses as well, but that's another one of the reasons. And I guess we'll get to more of Ren's story when we get to her, but they're all in these places called lodges. And Ren, which we learned in Star Door 15, is in the lodge called Paradise. which they all did these fucked up experiments on these kids, and pretty much all the kids died that we know of anyway. The only two survivors are Tio and Ren. And they heavily imply that Paradise, they did even worse things to the children. And Speaker Hartman is the one who they have blackmail over him because he was a frequent flyer of Paradise. And you can just tell by its name what the fucked up shit they did to those kids. Anyway, that's Tio at the Schwarz auction, which I thought that was funny when they're going there. And she's, oh, I'm Lloyd's younger sister. And the guards, oh, you don't look anything alike. You have blue hair. And she's like, oh, well, you know, our parents got married, so we're not brother and sister by blood. And they're like, okay, you can pass. So, little Tio Tot. And Randy called her Tio Tot. I thought that was a nice name. So here's Randy Orlando. He's your womanizer, big brother of the group. He's the oldest. He's 21. Former member of the Crossbell Guardian Force, which is basically the military of Crossbell. They guard both gates on the west and east with Arabonia and Calvard, Belgard, and Tangram Gate. And he was dishonorably discharged. We also learned later on that he was part of the Red Constellation Jaeger Corps, which is the most ruthless of all the Jaeger Corps in Western Zumeria. His father, we don't learn his father's name, but his father is called the War God, and they call Randy the Red Reaper, son of the War God. So it's very interesting to see Randy's front in that, you know, I guess he obviously has a thing for the ladies, but he's hitting all the ladies. He really has a soft spot for the younger ladies, too, like with Tio, calling her Tio Tot. Later on with Kie and Shizuku, where, oh, I'll take care of you, darling, don't worry, protecting them. But you learn with his bonding event especially, all the men he's killed in his time with the Jaegers, he rejects that now. Obviously, he hasn't spoken to his father in a very long time. And I'm really curious to find out what happens next with Randy. And they really did a good job drip feeding that, because early on, you know, you're going to the casino, like, oh, you lovely ladies. You go to the hospital, you see Cecile in her nurse outfit. Oh, nurse, I'm ill. You know, won't you please treat me? And then, I think it's in chapter 3, you do like this race between Estelle, Joshua, Awazi, and Wald, and Lloyd and Randy are losing, and Randy does the war cry craft ability, and he goes completely berserk, showing his Jaeger tendencies. And then Garcia Rossi calls him the son of the war god, and that really pisses him off. So there's a lot of good shit with Randy. And that's his outfit in the Schwarz auction, which is funny as hell, because he just sticks out like a sore thumb, you know? Here's Wazi Hemisphere. This dude was great, man. I really enjoyed the character of Wazi, and I feel like we're going to get a lot more details about him in the next game. Early on, and really throughout the whole game, he is the leader of the Testaments gang, rivals with Wald Wales, who's in charge of the Saber Vipers. And they sort of make it out like the two rival gangs are villains early on, but then you learn that Ravash are the mafias pulling the strings, trying to cause a gang war. And, you know, they're a bunch of hoodlums, but they're not really causing harm to any of the citizens. And Wazi's always chilling in his bar with Abos, having his drinks and whatnot. And you see him at the Schwarz auction, and he's basically a male escort there, ruining some guy's marriage. But he actually joins the party on 2 occasions in the prologue to fight the mafiosos from Ravach, and then in chapter 3 with the Schwarz auction. And that's his outfit when he goes to the Schwarz auction. I don't know, like, what is up with his outfit? He has his belly showing in both of them. He's got like a midriff. So that's Wazi. Here's Noelle Seeker, who is part of the Crossbell Guardian Force. I think they call her Lieutenant First Major or something like that. And she's part of the military. She also joins your party a couple times. Once when you go to Stargazer's Tower, and another time when you go to the Moon Temple. And she has like her machine guns. I mentioned how they speak Japanese. This is Japanese voice acted only. But she has a response where she'll either go, "Yes, ma'am," or "Yes, sir." And she says it like in English. I thought that was so cute. And, you know, interesting character. There's an instance in chapter 3 where you see this outfit right there for the anniversary festival. And you run into Noelle and Fran, that's her younger sister, and the two of them accompany Lloyd. And then Randy finds out about it. He's like, "What do you mean you went on a date with the Seeker sisters? Adios has blessed you and not me. What's the meaning of this?" So, you got that. Here's Detective Alex Dudley, who's part of the 1st Division. This guy's no nonsense. He doesn't want anything to do with the SSS. He thinks it's blasphemy. He does respect Chief Sergey, though. But, you know, he's like, we have to investigate this. We don't need to deal with you guys. But as Lloyd and his group slowly uncover the truth of what's going on with Ravach, with the D therefore G cult, the Gnosis pills, Dudley joins the party in Chapter 4. He has this awesome S-craft called Justice Hammer, where he rips off his jacket, just like as this epic punch. Oh man, he was great though. And then for the final chapter, him and Sergey running around the town defending it, such a badass. I'll show you more of the screenshots of that later. Here's Yin, the assassin employed by Heiyui from the eastern quarter of Calvard. And we find out that Yin is Risha, which they show us, the players, almost immediately. And then Lloyd, he can't figure it out, which the dude's a detective. How can you not figure that out? First of all, they call Yin he multiple times, when clearly you can hear it's a girl. It's a woman talking. But, oh, he, oh, yeah, okay, the skilled assassin. Yeah, right, bro. And there's my girl, Estelle Bright. So, yes, Estelle and Joshua Bright are here. And we knew this at the end of Sky's 2nd chapter. They wanted to find Ouroboros, but more importantly, find Ren. And they know that she was going to Crossbell, so they said, let's go to Crossbell. They, you know, they're looking for Ren. But they're also doing the odd jobs for the Bracer Guild. You can actually go to the Bracer Guild and check in with their receptionist, Michelle, who has a lot of pizzazz. And you can check the bulletin board to find out where Estelle and Joshua are and explore each of the regions and talk to them. And they'll say different things. Like, there's one instance where they talk about, you know, Arabonia is really not so bad. Most of the people I've met from Arabonia are pretty cool. But there's that one weirdo, and she's talking about Prince Olivert. At least that's who I think she's talking about. So, Estelle and Joshua. There's also a funny scene when Randy's like, what is their relationship? Because Estelle and Joshua Bright, they don't look like brother and sister. Well, it's complicated, bro. But yeah, Estelle and Joshua, they're ready to get married sooner or later. I mean, let's just face it. Chief Sergey, this dude's a legend, man. When he pulled out the shotgun near the end of the game, what a legend. And he's basically just this chill dude. He's the superior of the special support section. He got it all founded, really in honor of Guy Bannings, to have Guy Banning's legacy live on. And, you know, he's like, yeah, Lloyd, you guys do whatever you want to do. I'll support you. And that's what he does. Always smoking a cigarette. Absolutely fantastic. And here's Kie. And I just noticed this just now, like the things that she says. It's the chief. It's me. Does she say anything about anyone else? Or just, no, it's everyone's name. But it's me. So here's Kie. Oh my god, look at her smiling there and waving with her bag. But Kie, we find this girl in a trunk in Chapter 3 during the Schwarz auction, which early on, they say that, you know, they're going to auction off a Rosenberg doll, which are almost lifelike. And she's human, right? But she's not a Rosenberg doll. It was swapped. And Yin, right before we find Kie, Yin shows up and says that Heiyui was tipped off about it, which we still never really got a conclusion on that. So how is Heiyui involved with Kie? But later on, near the end of the game, we learn that she's actually been alive for 500 years, been in like this sphere, in this chamber, in the Sun Fort. And the D, therefore G cult, specifically Joachim Gunter, is trying to turn her into the new god, to reject Adios, the goddess, and make her into the new god. And it's some crazy stuff at the end, man. That's when you find her. She's wearing like this, I guess those are her pajamas or whatever. And then she has her new outfit. And the scene, like you take her back and immediately, if you don't fall in love with Kie, like you must have no soul. But, you know, you have Ellie and Tia finding her new clothes. She comes running in, gives Lloyd a hug, like, oh, I'm here, Lloyd. Don't I look cute in my new outfit? And with the intermission, you explore the whole city of Crossbell looking for her parents, you know, because we think she's a lost kid, like what's going on there. And you go around, you see a car, she's like, what's this thing? It goes, vroom, vroom. And you you can check in on Ilya, who's passed out. Oh, what's this lady snoring for? Oh, Lloydo, Lloydo. And she's just screaming the whole time. And if you talk to Estelle and Joshua, they're like, oh, we'll adopt her. She's so cute. No, I'm sick of Floyd. And just some great stuff. Man, I loved Kie. What a sweet character. Oh, going a little fast. There's Zeit. So Zeit is I think they call him the Divine Wolf. And you see him in Chapter 1. One of your first requests after solving the dispute in the downtown district is in all the neighboring villages, there's a bunch of people who are attacked by wolves. And as that's happening, like in between each area, you'll see Zeit, and you think, oh, he's probably the wolf attacking everybody. But it's really these hounds that are being controlled by Ravach. And you defeat the Ravach guys and the Mafia, and they summon more dogs. And then all of a sudden, Zeit shows up and sends them packing. And then watching all this, you actually see Ren on the cliff watching, like, oh, look at this. And then Arios McLean shows up, which I haven't even mentioned Arios McLean. I was waiting for his sprite to show up to talk about him, but I'll save that for later. And it's just crazy how they're all connected there. And Arios knows that she's part of Ouroboros, and she knows that he's the Divine Blade. But yeah, Zeit, after that point, joins your group as your police dog. Tio and Kie form a strong bond with him, and he's a good boy. So here's Nurse Cecile. That's Lloyd's sister-in-law, and she's also, I guess she's the widow of Guy Bangs. They're fiancé, so they're never married, but they're ready to be married, and he had died 3 years ago. And she sort of has her coping mechanism where she's working more at St. Ursula Medical College, you know, caring for all the kids. And I found it really interesting. She's always on the 3rd floor caring for Shizuku and Michael, which Shizuku is Arios McLean's daughter who's blind, and Michael is another young boy. So she has a lot of motherly instincts. And really a heartfelt scene when you go to the hospital with Lloyd. First of all, Randy's like, oh, these hot nurses, where's this hot nurse? And he's like, what do you mean your sister's a nurse? And it's like, no, it's not like that. She's like my sister in name, but she's not really my sister. Oh, I want a hot nurse sister, Lloyd. And, oh man, there's also a funny scene where, which one are you dating? Are you dating Ellie? Are you dating Tio? Or are you even dating Randy? Like, I'm dating none of them. Although he should have said he's dating Ellie. But that's her in her formal attire. During the anniversary festival, you can go to the Arc-en-Ciel performance with her. So what a sweet woman. Here's Arios McLean. So during the prologue, your first quest saving these kids from the Geofront, a bunch of monsters show up after, well, actually you defeat the monsters, then an even bigger monster shows up, and Lloyd's like, I'll hold them off. You guys get out of here while you still can. And then Arios McLean, what a foolish thing to say. Don't throw away your life like that. And he cuts down the monster real quick. And he knows who Lloyd is, because later on, you learn that Arios was in the police force and best friends working with Guy Bannings. And Chief Sergei was above the two of them. All three of them were buddies. And he was the one with Guy who raided a bunch of the D, therefore G lodges. So he has a strong connection with Lloyd. He's an A-rank bracer with the Crossbell branch. And you also learn that he's the Divine Blade of Wind, which we've heard that before. The Divine Blade, of course, that's Cassius Bright's title. And Cassius didn't have an element, so maybe he didn't have an element, or they just never named it. I'm not quite sure. But he practices the 8 leaves, 1 blade technique, or sword style, I should say. And we've heard that before. Of course, Alan Richard and Annalise practice that technique as well. I would hope next time we see Alan Richard and Annalise, their Divine Blades as well, because Annalise is essentially one. She was given Cassius's sword in Sky the Third, but that's another story. So I love how we're adding more lore there. And Arios was a pretty awesome character. I love his whole look, the scar on his face, the long hair, his outfit. Like, what a complete badass. So that's Arios. That's Shizuku, Arios' daughter, which she mentions that she lost her eyesight in an accident a while ago, and her mother had also died. And there's a sequence in the game later on where you can go to the cemetery, and you have to find these flowers for 3 tombstones. And then you go around inspecting the tombstones with the flowers, and you see the one tombstone is Guy Bannings, who died in 1201. you see another tombstone that's faded, although the year you can make out says 1198. And then another tombstone that says Saya McLean, who died in 1199. And then the guy who maintains the grave says these are all Guy Banning's dear friends. We have to honor his death and put these flowers here. So, again, that ties into the fact that Guy and Arios work together and were good friends. And I'm willing to bet that Saya McLean, who I'm assuming is her mother and Arios' wife, died in the accident, and that's also what caused her to go blind. And I'm really curious, like, who's the other tombstone that we don't know the name? Very interesting. And I loved going to the Crossbell Cathedral because you can go there in between each chapter and inspect Guy's tombstone. And Lloyd never says anything. It just says, here lies Guy Bannings, and, you know, the dates he was alive and he died. And then Lloyd will just have a sad face and go ... And then finally you get that acknowledgement, and the other characters say, oh, this is Guy's tombstone, and they all have something to say. And before, like, the end of the game, you'll inspect it, and Lloyd's like, I'm gonna do this, Guy. I'll live for you and strive to be what you were. Really good stuff. So that's, yeah, that one is her hospital attire, and then she leaves because she becomes friends with Kie, so that's her going out gear. And a really sweet scene when they actually take Kie to the hospital, because during the intermission, they go to Crossbell Cathedral to figure out if they can use one of the church's abilities. Actually, Joshua suggested that, and he mentioned someone helped him in the past, which he's referring to Kevin Graham in Sky's second chapter, who removed Joshua's stigma. So the church has their ways, and they're not able to do it. Although Kie mentions a dark place, but also a very bright light, which goes full circle at the end. And she runs out of the hospital because they say, oh, you gotta stay here for a couple nights. And she's like, no, I'm staying with you, Lloyd. I have to sleep in the same bed as you. I'm going. And she runs out, and she meets Shizuka out there, who's looking, well, she's blind, but she's near the water. And, you know, here's the fish jumping around. And Kie's like, oh, do you see the fishies? Are they jumping around? And Shizuka, you know, no, but I hear them. And then Kie, being the naive little girl, why are your eyes closed? And she says she's blind, and Kie relates, saying, well, I don't have any memories, so I guess we're kind of the same. And they become best friends. And you get a line, like, we see Arios here, who, just look at him. And then he smiles and is like, oh, thank you for being friends with my daughter, Kie. Like, oh, man, it's just so many great little moments like that. All right, here's Wald. He's part of the Saber Vipers gang, him and the Testament's Wazi. There seems to be some sort of connection with Wazi and Wald with their pasts. Maybe they were buddies in the past, and now they don't like each other, and they have the rival gangs. So I'll be curious to see him. And a fun compare and contrast with Wazi being like this skinny, flamboyant martial artist, and then Wald being the buff. You know, he also is hardly wearing a shirt, just like Wazi, but he has this bat with barbed wire around it. So, and again, they build them as bad guys early on, but at the end of the game, when everyone's attacking Crossbell, all hell's breaking loose, him and Wazi team up and defend Crossbell, so that's awesome. Alright, here we get to some of the waifus. Here we go. Here's Ilya Platier, which Randy's a sip for all the ladies, but especially Ilya, who's the star of Arc and Seal, which is a play that takes place in the Entertainment District. It's this excellent show where her and Risha, among others, are doing a performance. And, I mean, you can see, look at her, she's the sun goddess. And there's great lines where she's like, oh, Risha, look at you, I'd love to give you a little squeeze. Just some crazy stuff, man. But she's good friends with Cecile. And they're always, like, hitting on Lloyd. Like, all the ladies are always trying to get one over on Lloyd. And Lloyd's like, don't bring me into this. And then you'll see Tio stare. She stares. And Randy, oh, why won't you just come over to me? Woman, come on now. And here's Risha, who is from Calvert, by the way. And yeah, we learn right away that she's Yin. So, and I don't know how the hell Lloyd doesn't figure that out. But maybe he's obviously going to figure it out in Azure. And there she is, the moon goddess. And she moves into the downtown district. And there's a funny line, if you talk to one of the guys at the Saber Vipers, he's like, oh, that hottie Risha, what I wouldn't do to orbital motorboat them titties. Here's Fran Seeker, that's Noelle's sister, who is the receptionist for Crossbell Police Department. And like I said, you already saw Noelle in that outfit during the anniversary festival. Her and Noelle accompany Lloyd, and Randy gets jealous. That's Sonia Bales. She is the, what does it say right there? Deputy Commander of Tangram Gate. And Noelle is the rank below her. Oh, here's Grace! Grace Lynn. You meet her early on, too. After Ario saves our asses in the Geofront, she shows up and is like, oh, the Crossbell Police Department, they can't do anything. We have to save everything to the Bracers. Ario saves the day again. But Grace ends up being one of our biggest cheerleaders. She's always trying to write puff pieces for us to get our good name out there, and she was a fun character. I love when you first meet her, she's like swaying back and forth. You see the camera, keeps taking all these pictures, and Randy's like, stop, woman, what are you doing? Here's Ian Grimwood. He's a lawyer. His law office is in the West Street, I think it's called. And, yeah, there was a scene when he was talking to Chief Sergey about the child abductions with the therefore G cult. So there's that. Here's Jonas Sacred, who's also affiliated with the Epstein Foundation, although I think he ran away because he's living in the Geofront. He has all these computers. He's a hacker. He's able to get them a message from Yin, which there's like in Chapter 2, an assassination attempt to Ilya, or at least a threat to assassinate Ilya. And it turns out that it's Ernest impersonating Yin, because Yin is obviously Risha, so she wouldn't do that. And Jonah's able to help us there. He also gets us an invitation. Actually, no, it's Kitty, that's Ren, who's fucking around with Jonah, who gets us the invitation to the Schwarz auction. And he was funny. Him and Tio have a relationship from their past, and they're just arguing with each other. And there's a funny line from him where he calls us normies. Like, you normies! Fucking normies! Alright, so this is the main villain of the game, which, like, dude, I had no idea this guy's gonna be the main villain. This is Dr. Joachim Gunter, who is the head doctor of St. Ursula Medical College. And maybe I should have known because Weissman also had blue hair and glasses. Like, is that a trend, Falcom? Maybe? And there's a funny thing where you have to find him because he's gone missing and he's going fishing. And you actually get a reference, there's a fisherman named Lloyd from the Sky game, so you see again during the festival. And you find him, and they reveal later that because he's the high priest, he's overdosed on red pills, quite literally. The red gnosis pills. And he can't sleep, so he goes fishing, he's the doctor, and then he goes to the Sun Fort and does his shit to turn Kie into the new goddess, to reject Adios. And there you see him in his high priest attire, and then he has the white hair and the staff. Like, I had no fucking idea this guy was gonna be the villain. That was quite shocking. Here's Henry McDowell, the mayor, the one good politician in Crossbell, and he had an attempted assassination by Ernest, his secretary, and that's him in his hospital attire, his pajamas or whatever. And he was gonna retire after his term, but, well, actually, he still does. But after Ernest tries to kill him, he's like, I can't retire quite yet. Here's Ernest Rice, that's the secretary, who attempts to assassinate him. And this is like your first instance of the Gnosis pills, where they mention he has superhuman strength. It takes Randy, Tio, and Zeit to stop him. And because you split up, you have Ellie and Lloyd in the Arkansas performance, and then the rest of them are outside. So they all stop him, and he's arrested. And then you learn later that his physician is Dr. Gunter. And you see him again. He takes all these red pills, turns into a fucking demon. And you see his eyes change too. He gets the evil demon eyes, right? So I did not expect to see him again. Here's Speaker Hartman, this piece of shit. He's the Imperial faction. And then they show later that he has blackmail because he frequented the Paradise Lodge, which they said with the D therefore G cult, they all had these lodges, and they all did the fucked up experiments to the kids with the Gnosis pills, but Paradise, as the name implies, did even more fucked up shit and did unspeakable things to the children, which we learned in Sky the Third with Stardor 15 and Ren. So this guy's a fucking pedophile, so good riddance, and he's a piece of shit. Here's Dieter Kreuss, who is the president of the IBC, the bank. And at the very end of the game, this dude actually saves the day, man. You're leaving because the whole city is being attacked by the demonified guardsmen who are overdosing on Gnosis pills. And his armored orbital limousine shows up. He's like, "Get in, kid! Get in the car! We gotta go!" And they have the last stand at IBC. And as the credits roll, it's revealed that he's the new mayor of Crossbell after Henry McDowell retires because, I mean, of all the influential people, he seems to at least be a good guy. I mean, he saved our asses, right? Watch, he turns out to be the villain of the next game. Oh, no. That's Maribel Croyce. That's his daughter, and also good friends with Ellie. And again, all the ladies. My goodness. Very attractive. I love my blonde-haired waifus, that's for sure. Here's the mafiosos, Don Marconi. So this is the guy in charge of Hervach. He's just trying to rake in the money. He has his deal with Speaker Hartman. And later on, he releases the Gnosis pills and fucks shit up. And while he's a villain, we also have his second-in-command, Garcia Rossi, who is a former member of the Zephyr Jaeger Corps. He is a villain, but he's not too bad. Like, he has his own principles and rules that he follows. Reminds me a lot of how in Ouroboros with the Enforcers, they're villains, but they're not so bad. Like, you had Love, I call him Lo, but apparently his name is pronounced Love. Well, the only reason why he joined Ouroboros is because, you know, Karen died, the tragedy of Hamel, and he wanted to seek answers and retribution for that. With the other guys, I mean, you have Walter, who just has his score to settle with Zinn. You have Blue Blanc, who, I don't know, is he bad? He just likes playing tricks of his Phantom Thief B persona. Ren, she's not even part of Ouroboros anymore. So they have, like, their own set of principles. And I feel like Garcia Rossi wasn't so bad. I mean, he has his rules that he follows. When this fucker, Marconi, was like, "Oh, let's release the new drugs," Garcia says, "Are you insane? The whole Bracer Guild will be on our ass. Forget the cops." So he's smart, and I don't know. I just feel like he wasn't so bad. I know he's like the second to last boss fight we fight because he's controlled in the end, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with him in the next game. Here's Cal Lee. So this is the guy in charge of Heiyui employing Yin, and he's another one. I don't know what the hell to even think about him because he's so cunning. He hardly says anything. He's fixing his glasses. There's the one scene when his building's being raided by the demonified Ravach members, and he just fixes his glasses like, "Ooh, wait till they see our might." And Detective Dudley's questioning him like, "Your whole bottom floor was shot up, everything's been destroyed. How is the top floor unfazed?" And he's like, "I don't know. I have my ways." So the fact that Yin is Risha and she's a good guy, I don't know if Cal Lee is necessarily a bad guy, because even during the final battle, he's one of the dudes like, "Oh, the SSS is holding their own. They're saving the day." So is he that bad? I don't fucking know. So here's Ren. Like I said, Ren had her reasons to go to Crossbell. She had, well, number one, she wanted to repair a Pachamacher, so she went to the Rosenberg studio. She was seeking out the Hayworths, Harold, Sophia, and Colin Hayworth, to get her answers, which from her perspective, she was sold. She was sold into, you know, as human trafficking. But that couldn't be further from the truth once you eventually hear it from Harold himself, where they were tight on money, and they had her stay with a friend in Calvert, and then the building burned down, so they went to see what was going on. He said all the bodies were charred, so he feared that his daughter had died, and then the D, therefore G cult abducted her and subjected her to all these experiments and did unspeakable things to her. So she was going to come in and kill her parents, I think, but then Colin ends up getting lost during the festival, and we have to find her. Ren actually helps, and then you see he's being ambushed by a pack of wolves, and she breaks out her scythe and saves her little brother. And then here's the side of the story from her parents. So Ren is quite an interesting character. There's also a great line of dialogue when she's talking to Maester Rosenberg. And you can see in the Rosenberg studio, they have Ouroboros logos. But then Rosenberg says that Crossbell is neutral. Neither the Septian Church nor Ouroboros gets involved. Which, okay, if Ouroboros doesn't get involved, how the hell do you have Ouroboros logo on your door? And then he name drops, I think it was the 6th Anguis, Professor Novartis, who is in charge of the 13 factories, which the Rosenberg studio is one of the 13 factories, and that's the organization that created Pachamater. So I don't know. There's just a lot of lore going on there. Oh shit, here's Kilika. So Kilika, she was part of the Zeiss, the receptionist at the Zeiss Bracer Guild in Liberal. And in Sky the Third, she was going back to Calvard to do something with President Rocksmith in Calvard. And she shows up here going to the Schwarz auction to sort of get her intel. And actually, her, along with Lecter, save our asses at the Schwarz auction. She breaks out her chakram, I think they are, her discs that she throws. So, damn, it was awesome seeing Kilika again. Lecter, what a legend, man. So, we saw Lecter in Sky the Third at the Genus School Academy, and with Chloe, with her door. And then we also saw with Gileath Osborne, he's like the secretary for Gileath Osborne, and that was when Prince Albert was like, hey, Gileath, stop fucking around, will ya? I'm declaring war against you. Which we didn't see Prince Albert or Mueller in this game. Maybe we'll see them in Azure. But we saw Lecter, and he was just singing a song. He was basically imitating, I think he said that. I think he said he was imitating Albert with his lute there. He did, didn't he? And he accompanies us. You see him at the Schwarz auction when we're making the great escape with Kie. He defends us, and, you know, it's like, oh, there's someone making noise in this room. When we're in the room, we think, oh, he's going to rat us out. And then there's a cat, and he's like, oh, it's just a cat. Oh, it's just great, man. And then also you see him playing cards with this guy named Gantz, and he has, what do you even call it? He has 4 aces and a joker, and he beats a straight flush, which is crazy. Oh. Harold Hayworth, again, like first time seeing him, because I thought these guys were all assholes, what they did to Ren. But first time seeing him, you see he really cares for his wife and his son, Colin. And he actually gives the SSS a ride home. And then you hear more of the story. And it was nice to get their perspective. Wow, Sophia's pretty hot, man. God damn, Sophia. And Colin, so there you go. And yeah, that was another... He passes out because he's been running around all day. So he's taking a little nap. And when he wakes up, he mentions the purple-haired girl who saved him, which he takes after his mother with the red hair. But you see, Harold and Ren both have purple hair, and Harold's like, purple-haired girl? What do you mean by that? And then he says, oh, Adios, the goddess must be blessing us, sending a guardian angel to protect, because he still assumes Ren is dead. Because Lloyd says, you know, she left, but they don't quite confirm it's Ren. And this is Maester George Rosenberg of the Rosenberg Studio. So I've gone on for like an hour, but I guess we'll keep going. People will watch this, who the hell knows. Here's some of the visuals. That's Lloyd in the white shirt and Guy sitting down, I think, anyway. And it looks like Lloyd's yelling at Guy as Cecile's making dinner. That's Guy's funeral. This is very interesting too. So who's here? It looks to me, obviously in the middle we have Lloyd and Cecile. What a really tragic scene. I cried multiple times during this game too, man. I'll get to more of that maybe with the screenshots, but to the left of the green hair you see Dudley. I don't know who those other two are. I want to say the one on the right is Arios, but I feel like Arios always had the long hair. So the two of them are crying. Cecile and Lloyd are crying. That's Guy leaving. That's him leaving for the mission to take out the D, therefore G lodges. So the year we're in now, 1204, they said 6 years ago. So that's 98. That's the year the other person died, because Saya died in 99. So who's the other person who died? Anyway, there's a joint effort. I think there might be a screenshot for that too. Is there? Yeah, there is. I'll talk more about that later. It's right there, that screenshot. That's the Hayworths taking Ren to Calvard. And you see in Star Door 15, she's holding that same stuffed animal. Such a horrible scene, man. And that's them going back to where they left Ren after the fire. And that's from... Oh, man, so tragic, man. Because Ren and Lo are back, and they see... Ren sees this, and is like, why? Why did I have a new kid? Why? They've abandoned me. Why? And it's such a heart-wrenching scene. So that's when you learn that Guy, Arios, and Sergei all work together. And the D, therefore G cult. Which they say G stands for Gnosis. Which in this game they pronounce it Gnosis, but it's Gnosis. I mean, come on now. We all know. What does the D stand for? I'm gonna say it's like devil. Devil, therefore gnosis? I don't know. But creepy as fuck. And to lead the charge, look who's in the middle right there. Fucking Cassius Bright. So check this out, man. Cassius Bright in the middle. To the left, we have Arios, Sergey, and Guy. And then to the right, you see who that is? That's fucking Zin. That's Zin from Calvert. I don't know who the other one is with the hat, but that's Zin. And they mentioned how everyone worked together to wipe out the lodges. And, you know, obviously a few others survived with Joachim Gunter. And I'm assuming there's going to be more. There has to be more high priests running around in Azure. But we also know that Lo and Joshua took down Paradise. They took out their own lodges. So the D therefore G cult is so fucked up and so evil that even the established villains Ouroboros acknowledged that. And not that they even collaborated with Cassius and the others. They worked on their own accord. But even they said, you can't be doing this fucked up shit to kids. And they took out the lodges as they saw necessary as well. They took out the one Paradise and Calvard. And I found that to be fascinating because, as I said before, we do have evil people in Ouroboros like Weissman. And I guess the Grandmaster. And maybe Professor Novartis. But some of the enforcers I feel aren't that bad. Like Ren has had a change of heart now. I mentioned before, Lo's dead. But he had his reasons for joining, you know, to avenge Karen and Hamill. Joshua is no longer with Ouroboros. I don't think Blue Bonk's really that bad. He's just like a prankster. Walter I don't think is that bad. So they all have their reasons. So is Ouroboros even really that bad? And that's Guy rescuing Tio. And you can see the shit that they did. They had like all these wires and antennas and just altering the minds of these kids. And Tio and Ren were the only ones who survived. That's a picture you see early on with young Lloyd, Cecile, and Guy. And Lloyd really does take after Guy. Guy just has longer hair, I guess. That's the Enigma. That's your way to cast spells with the orbaments and also their cell phone. Oh, here's all their weapons. So Lloyd uses the Tonfas. Ellie uses a pistol. Tio the orbital staff. Randy a halberd. That's Tio's armor. Some kind of letter. Invitation. That's that's Tio's Mishi plush, which she loves Mishi. That's one of the letters from for the Schwarz auction. The Gnosis pills. That's the notebook about the D, therefore G cult. That's Guy's badge. So another fascinating detail. Again, we never found out who killed Guy in this game. But we find his damaged police badge in Don Marconi's office. And then you confront Don Marconi later on in the game. And he's like, no, we didn't kill Guy Bannings. And Garcia Rossi knows who Guy Bannings is. And then you also, when you confront Joachim Gunter for the final battle, he's like, yeah, that Guy Bannings was a nuisance. I told Marconi and his men to kill him. And he said he killed him, but Garcia told me he didn't, and I trust Garcia. That's why Garcia, like, okay, he's evil, but he does have his own principles, and he's not going to lie about something like that. So, who the fuck killed the Guy Bannings? Gunter wanted him dead, which leads me to believe there's more Gunters out there. This is when they find that Speaker Hartman goes to Paradise. He's a pedophile. Fuck him. And you see the details of all the kids. They see a picture of... Well, I guess I'm not going to show it here, of Tio and Ren. And that's Kie. So Gunter, and we still don't know how the hell Kie ended up in the Schwarz auction in the trunk. Because he said that she only woke up, she was asleep for 500 years. He wants to turn her into the new Adios, reject Adios. And she left, but then Heiyui knew that she was going to be in the trunk because Yin was there. So how did she get there? How did she crawl out of the sun fort? And that's him at the end. He quite literally overdoses on red pills, yes. And then at the very end of the game, we get this sweet, sweet picture of all them, all our heroes together. And I just love it, man. I love how Dudley's fixing his glasses, too. What are you doing, Dudley? What are you doing, bro? And Henry McDowell is stepping down. Hartman's on the run, I think. Or else they said he's arrested. Maybe he's arrested or something. And then Dieter Kreuss becomes the new mayor. Look at the landslide he won. I'm assuming that the blue is him, right? So that's the end of the game. This is like an instance with the hacking going on. And these are some of the landscapes. Really beautiful looking game. That's where you can go fishing at the end. The waterfalls. That is the Moon Temple. Stargazer's Tower. One of the trains. The Sun Fort. And these are the decorations you can get for all the characters. Those two are for Lloyd. Those are for Ellie. Of course, Tio, Tot, and Armishi. And then Randy, a true man of culture with Ilya Platier. And then their Enigmas all have their different designs. Which Randy's, of course, is that. So, you got all that. Let's watch the opening. Why not? It's really interesting how they showed that early on about the badge being damaged. And there's a couple of these cutscenes throughout the game. Such excellent music, though. So right away you get to see like all the personalities of the characters. There's Lloyd coming back from Calvard. Ellie. Looking at her memento. Tio hacking away. And her with Zeit. Randy looking at Hotshot. Look at the face he makes here. Watch this. Look. Oh, you caught me. I'm looking at Hotshot. Wazzy. Dudley and Noel. Chief Sergey. And then watch this real quick. It's going to show. It's going to go out real fast. So check this out. It's going to show you like the D, therefore G cult. There's Cow and Yin. Oh, ready for this? God damn. Find me. Yep, real quick. Do you see all that stuff? All those details hidden right there? The pills, the cult, Ario's kicking ass, Kie. Which, yeah, when you're walking in the Schwarz auction, you hear that. You hear a couple times, find me, and only Lloyd can hear it. Zeit running away. And Kia giving Lloyd a hug. Anytime you'd enter the building, she'd always give Lloyd a hug. Such a sweet little girl. Man, I can't wait to see what happens next in Azure. What's that one? I don't even remember this one. I think this was from the very beginning. So, I mean, for a PSP game, this is pretty good. This game initially came out in 2010. Or is it a PS Vita game? 2010. This looks great to me. Give me this over Starfield or whatever the kids are playing these days. Holy shit, there's a shit ton of these. Okay. Alright, this... You're making your way to the final dungeon. And we take Dieter Kreuz's armored limousine, and we have these rockets being fired at us, and it's like, go, get out of the way! And Chief Sergey gets shot. But he's still driving. Look at these missiles firing at us. And then you're not going to believe who saves the day. Well, if you're watching this, you already know who saves the day. But the great Noel Seeker shows up and is like, I'm saving you guys. So badass. Like, the adrenaline was pumping during this ending sequence. I think most people who watch my live streams and watch my channel already know, but when I finished this game, I played it for like 12 hours from the ending of Chapter 4 all the way to the end of the game. I was up past my bedtime finishing it. Yeah, that's Noelle. She shows up at the end. It's like, get the fuck off the road. Boom, look at this, man. Go, go. Go, Noelle. What a badass. The struggle. So awesome. What's the final scene? I guess there's another one. Yeah, because in between each of these cutscenes, it cuts back into the dialogue with Sergey and the others and Noelle. So yeah, it's just them racing to the end there. Awesome. So I realize I've gone an hour and 10 minutes. Holy shit! I do want to show some more stuff though. But I mean, I could go on for like 5 hours if I'm staying at this rate. Because I thought about showing every one of my screenshots. I have close to 2,700 screenshots. Yeah, 27. But that would go on way too long. So we're good there. We'll say goodbye to Kie. Bye bye. And what I'm gonna do is we'll play some of the music in the background. Let me do this. So I just want to think about what I should do here. So this is like the start. Again, the fact that it shows this as the opening scene, going to Gehenna. Just incredible. So we'll meet some of the characters. Ario saving the day. There's so many like little details in the game, like talking to the random NPCs, like this dude in particular, Old Man Quinn, where all he wants to do is go fishing. Later on, his granddaughter shows up. He's like, "Stay away from me. I'm just going fishing. All these politicians are crooks. I'm not taking it anymore." This was awesome too. When Lloyd, he's pretending to be a testament, and then the Mafia shows up, and then Wazi joins the party. Such good stuff. And because I'm a huge fan of Estelle, I love the Sky trilogy. I'm like, where's Estelle? And she shows up at the beginning of chapter 1. So there she is. Estelle Bright, Senior Bracer. Joshua Bright, also Senior Bracer. Hell yeah. Here, I think this is Randy hitting on the ladies. Where is it? Right here. It's an honor to be beckoned by a lovely lady like yourself, man. Like, the dialogue in this game is just so funny. It's worth talking to every character. The state government is just full of crooks. Ain't that the truth? Don't get me started on the police. This one was great, too. I talked about this early on. This guy's talking about Risha. Not that I'd mind. I'd literally quit the Vipers right now. She'd let me orbital motorboat them titties. Like, how is that even included in the game, man? How do they even include it? I'm thinking based. Here's Old Man Quinn bitching about this boat being in the way. Why, Iona? Oh, man. So here's, you actually fight these monsters, and Estelle and Joshua show up to save the day. And Estelle and Joshua join the party later on in the game. And her S-Craft is Phoenix Wave, which is Cassius Bright's S-Craft from Sky the Third. And then Joshua has Phantom Raid. Which I liked it better in Sky's second chapter, where it shows the Ouroboros logo and then it shatters and he goes, "I will run no more." So badass. The chest message. What are some of the chest messages? Yeah, Stargazer's Tower. Oh man, the hospital. Look at that hot nurse. God damn. I was sight for sore eyes. And he's talking about his sister. Which, where is she? She shows up and gives Lloyd a hug. He's like, "Oh, she's hot, man. Let me get a hug." Why are you crying? Damn you, Lloyd. How dare you hide your beautiful goddess of a sister from me? There's Shizuku. Sweet little girl. This song playing in the background right now is called Scene of the Street Corner, which is the main Crossbell theme. Here's Ren. You see her right away at the Rosenberg studio, which she knows we're the special support section right away. And it's like, we didn't even tell you our names. How'd you know that? Oh, this was funny. So, in chapter 1, going around with the disturbances with the wolves attacking people, the Mafia is here to offer their services to the mayor. And the mayor's like, "Well, we asked the Bracers, they can't help. The Guardian Force can't help." And this almost reminds me of like, "Oh, a nice village you have here. A shame if something were to happen to it." Because, yeah, they're the ones causing problems in the village. So you fight all these hounds and the mafiosos. And then more of them show up. But then we get Zeit, who howls and they all cower. And then Ren's watching all this. And as that's the case, Ario shows up. Like, why is he watching? the Divine Blade of Wind. And then he knows Enforcer number 15 of Ouroboros, the Angel of Slaughter. And who's the strongest person she's ever known? Is she talking about Love? Maybe she's talking about Love. Or Cassius. Although I don't think she knows Cassius. And after that, Zeit takes refuge there. That's the end of chapter 1. This is the first time we see Garcia and Don Marconi. Which, I mean, just look at him. He has more of like a clean cut about him, whereas Don Marconi's a big fat slob. Like, that alone just tells you that Garcia has more integrity to him. I think, anyway. Here's Risha doing her practice. And Ilya shows up. And what the hell is with Ilya's outfit? I guess, like, she's wearing her shirt, but you can see, like, what's her skin doing showing there? Not that I'm complaining. I just think it's an unconventional outfit. And she's talking about how good Risha looks in that chest of hers. Can I get a poke? And she starts poking and trying to fondle her titties. And says, let me get a quick squeeze, will ya? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was always so cool to check in on all the characters. Like, in this case, Cecile has a day off, and all she's doing is looking at the picture there, which if you look closely at it, it's Guy, Lloyd, and Cecile, the picture we saw earlier. So, like, here's the newspaper you can examine, and Zeit's the talk of the town. Oh, Shan Shan! So, Shan Shan is the daughter of Zhang Hu, the owner of this cafe here, the Long Lao Tavern, I think it's called. And at the start of the game, he's like, get the hell out of my kitchen, what are you doing? And as it progresses, these damn customers keep hitting on my daughter, what's the meaning of this? He's very protective of his Shan Shan. This guy, he doesn't want to join the Fisherman's Guild. It'll be a cold day in Gehenna before I let myself in that group. Some of the enemy names here, like this one, Farticus. It's a skunk. So I just want to see if I can get to more of the details here. Here's like the performance with Ilya and Risha for Arc and Seal. That's trying to figure out who sent the letter. We actually accuse Ravach of doing it and are able to speak with Garcia for a bit. And then he's like, get the fuck out of here. Ravach controls Crossbell and there's nothing you can do about it. It's a fool's errand. It's Crossbell's true nature. So you get your leads. You end up talking to Cal Lee. Again, a very cunning man who knows a lot more than he lets on. And I feel like he's going to be more important in the next game. Detective Dudley, who's bitching and moaning like, stay away, this is not your investigation. It's our matter now. And an excellent performance here, where you get to see Ilya and Risha. I think that's more their practice. We actually see Ren in the back alley shop, and she's looking at dolls. I think you can find her multiple times in the game, hiding around. This is when you learn about Ellie's past, where she tells Lloyd about how her parents got divorced and the struggles her grandfather's gone through to maintain his neutrality, and how Crossbell's corrupt, and it always has been, but she wants to change it. So a really sweet scene. Oh, they're talking about the barriers. Yeah, Lloyd always sort of breaks the fourth wall, saying, we're going to overcome the barrier. Yes, we will. And where's the one? It's like kiss already. Like, Lloyd's getting ready to give her a hug or whatever. She's not alone. Thank you, Lloyd. They're getting ready, and then something happens. I thought you were confessing your love to me. Nope, not yet. And that's Yin. Oh, a black shrouded man. Okay, a man. Yeah, right. So let's skip ahead a little bit more. Oh, this is cool. So in this instance, because Estelle and Joshua know who the Hayworths are from Sky the Third, so they wanted to seek Harold out, and they learn his side of the story, and he tells them the side of the story about how he assumed his daughter had died in the fire. Here's Dieter Kreuss. And some underground stuff meeting Jonah. Yeah, the ZCF, that's in the barrel. See, these are all the connections to the other games, which makes it worthwhile to play all these games in succession. That's his granddaughter pestering him. Alright, I want to see if I can fast forward a bit to Kie. Okay, so here's Stargazer's Tower. Now, as soon as you walk into Stargazer's Tower, the music sounds exactly like music from Sky the Third, and Tio makes note of the fact that the higher elements are active, space, time, and mirage, and you fight a bunch of undead enemies, fiends, and things of that nature. Does she say it right here? The spiritual disturbance. And I guess it has the vibe of Sky the Third, Phantasma, Gehenna, the other world. And near the end, at the top of the tower, there's a bell. And I think there's 3 bells throughout Crossbell. And it's, well, the one in Crossbell City, there's no shenanigans going on there quite yet anyway. Maybe in Azure. I feel like that's going to be important for what happens in the future of the series, because it's called Crossbell, and there's 3 bells? Only makes sense. So this fucking boss fight was so good. The song that played for this one, let me see if I can find it. We'll put it in the background just so you can hear it. It's called The Inevitable Struggle. And it's just such an excellent theme. Right here. And the theme just gets you so hyped, man. You end up fighting Yin in a boss fight. So cool. So after that, that's when you have to go here and see if there's any assassination attempt on Ilya Platier. And yet, Ellie gets jealous because Lloyd is encouraging Risha. Yo, shine brightly. What does Ellie say? I think I took a screenshot. Like, you're being dense. She's getting jealous. And really an incredible performance with these characters. Great music playing there. We'll go back to Inevitable Struggle. Let me find the song for this. I should have had them all in order, but it is what it is. Is it this one? No, I don't think it's that one. Maybe it's this one. Yes, this is the Arkan Seal song. Incredible performance. Ilya's one thing. Risha is just as amazing. They're both amazing, man. Let me tell you. They're like flying around. And yeah, Grace tips us off about what's his name? Ernest. And Ernest... Holy shit, I'm just looking at this now. Capital D. The D, therefore G cult. It's all connected, bro. It's all connected. Look at that foreshadowing. What the hell? So we go in there and this fucker's trying to kill him. Unreal. And he wants to seize his own political power. You go out here and Zeit stops him. Ah! Good boy, Zeit. So he saves the day and they had to... their end to their performance. It's a wonderful thing. He's in the hospital. What's Cow saying here? The counteroffensive will launch after the festival. But did it ever launch? Because what happened after the festival, that's when the Gnosis pills came out and they attacked the Heyu building. Goodness gracious. What is this guy scheming, man? What is Cow scheming? And then that's when you see Yin runs and then turns into Risha. So yeah, Yin is Risha. We all know. And here's Tio playing against... This is like Dr. Mario playing against Jonah. It shows everyone has a day off after arresting Ernest. And Randy is with all these NPCs here are from the hospital. They're all the nurses in their regular attire. And he's hanging out there. I think that's Lloyd the fisherman hanging out there too, isn't it? And Tio is playing her Dr. Mario game against Jonah with Zeit. Having a great time. And then Lloyd goes with Cecile to Ark Seal. Didn't mean to rhyme there. And then these two show up, and it's like, oh, come with us, Lloyd. So Lloyd's got his harem of waifus. Which one will he choose? Well, I think the canon one is Ellie, but you really can't go wrong with any of them. Right? Oh, he got set up. Well, we were with Cecile, but I mean, that's our sister. So then Sergey's like, okay, you had your day off. Now you gotta get back to work, kids. So you get back to work and you can find all sorts of great NPCs. Like over here, that's actually Noelle and Fran's mother. Right? You can see Estelle and Joshua just chilling on their day off. The old man's bitching to Mona. What's he complaining about now? Arrgh. Shut up. Oh. Yeah, the festival's too loud. The damn guy is supposed to go fishing. I mean, he honestly took the worst possible spot to go fishing. Like, there's all sorts of noise here, bro. Like, what do you expect? Can't you fools see I'm trying to fish over here? Oh, yeah. So some of the odd jobs, you gotta, like, go with these license plates and figure out who's illegally parking. Things like that. Check on Jonah. He's being a neat. Take some pictures. This is the one. Yeah. we tell Randy that we're hanging out with the Seeker sisters. Yes, we sure did. And this is, like, I should have known this fucker was evil from the start. He's going fishing. We see Dr. Gunter fishing. And that's Lloyd from the Fisherman's Guild. Your name's Lloyd too? What a coincidence. Like, look at this. I should have known ever since he had a character portrait, which, I mean, there's a lot of character portraits, but still. Okay, so these assholes. Wald, Wazzy, and Abos. Did I even mention Abos? Abos is like Wazzy's right-hand man, and he doesn't say much. He's this tall, bald guy with sunglasses, and he's like, Wazzy's word is absolute. Whatever he says is the creed. And so Estelle and Joshua are like, no, stop causing this disturbance. And they challenge all of us to a race. Which, after the race, we win. And Randy uses all these powers. He, like, charges up, does a war cry. And that's when he tells a little bit about what happened in his past with the Red Constellation Jaeger Corps. So, I think we're getting close to the Schwarz auction. Oh, here they are going to the Rosenberg studio looking for Ren, because they found out that Ren lives there. And yeah, the 13 factories, that's one of the 13 factories with Professor Novartis. And they mentioned about Ren. Okay, then we meet Kilika, yup. Who is retired. Maybe she's still working with the Bracers undercover, but I could have sworn she retired from the Bracers in Sky the Third and is working with President Rocksmith of the Calvard Republic. So when it's eventually time to go... Oh, okay, this is when you go to the Geofront with Tio, and she tells you a little bit about the story, how Guy escorted her home, which in a way he did, but he also rescued her from the evil cult. Which, yeah, I can understand. She don't want to tell all the great details just yet. So she sort of drip feeds it. And Jonah gives him the file. And we get the head honchos here. Don Marconi, Garcia Rossi, who was with the Zephyr Jaeger Corps. Was he he was the commander of Zephyr Jaeger Corps. He's no joke, is right. His S-Craft one-hit KOs you no matter what. And Speaker Hartman. Fuck him. What did I say? Is Gileath Osborne? Yeah, I'm telling you what. Gileath Osborne is going to be the big villain of the whole series. I'm calling it right now. It has to be. So yeah, they all decide, okay, we got to go now. So when we make our way to Oh, here's a cute scene with Estelle and Shizuka. Oh, this was awesome. Arios comes in and saves us. There's these monsters. And Arios shows up and clears the way. And yes, okay, so before we go to the Schwarz auction, there's just so much that happens in this game. I'm sort of out of sequence. Harold says that Colin got lost in the commotion, so he gives us a picture of Harold, which we've seen him before. And we got to go around asking where he is. We find Ren, and we show Ren the picture, and look at the face she makes. Like, oh, she knows who he is. I've never seen him before, but she helps us anyway. And then when we eventually find him, he's surrounded by these wolves, and she saves him, her brother, by the way, and saves him. But she never wanted to save him. You'll see with the next line of dialogue in a minute here. He starts crying because he's scared. Trying to say, nothing will hurt you anymore, Colin. I never meant to save you, to involve myself like this, because I think she went there because she wanted to kill her parents. I truly believe that's what she wanted to do. So, with that, she talks more about her past, and then Harold and Sophia show up, and Ren, you can see, like, the door for the closet, see how it moves slightly? She goes in there to hide, because she doesn't want to confront her parents, and with that, Harold tells his side of the story, and of course, Colin wakes up and says, you know, where is she? Purple hair just like Papa's. He's like, what do you mean, purple hair like that? The goddess's protection. A guardian angel for Colin. I cried during this scene, man, because I was crying during Star Wars 15 in Sky the Third. And this was really emotional because, again, I thought these people were evil. And they never meant for it to happen this way. So they gave Ren to their friend in Calvard so they can make enough money to repay their debts. And when they finally returned, the house was destroyed, burned down, all the bodies were burned. So they just assumed the worst. Their daughter was gone forever. And yeah, I guess they thought about killing themselves. Because, like, what do we have to live for? Our daughter's dead. And then he found out that Sophia was pregnant with Colin. So they said, okay, we'll live for Colin then. And this is the scene in Star Wars 15 when Ren and Lo are there. And Ren starts crying and says, well, why do they look so happy? What about me? But they didn't know. They thought their daughter had died. And it really is a difficult burden to carry. And this is a really important line, too, from Tia. We all simply have to do whatever we can to overcome our guilt and regrets. Because basically, she has the same backstory as Ren. And that's right, the little girl came from heaven to protect Colin herself. And they leave, and then Ren says goodbye. They're like, you're going to go back to your parents? And she's like, well, that's one of my reasons for Crossbell. It's gone now. And she thanks everyone for that and leaves. And then, just as she's leaving, because Estelle and Joshua, you know, they heard the commotion about Colin as well. And then they heard that Lloyd was walking around with Ren. So they came here. They're like, where the hell is Ren? Oh, they just left. And then I cried during this scene too, man. Like, she starts talking about it. Listen to Estelle, just her dialogue. That's just how Estelle talks. I'm hunting you down, Missy, and you can't stop me. And they've been looking for her ever since the end of Sky's second chapter. And she starts crying. You really see, like, the amount of detail in these little sprites here. You see right underneath her eyes, there's, like, little blue dots. Those are her tears. She's crying right there. And Joshua has a really great quote here as well. Let me keep going and see. She wasn't abandoned. Her parents never stopped loving her. She was finally able to face the bittersweet truth. Ren's been lying to herself most of her life. It was all she could do to protect herself from the cruel path she was forced onto. And that's why we resolved to help Ren find the courage to face the truth of her past. The truth may be tragic, but what you can feel, the love buried deep within, the warmth it carries. So, really good. Don't you forget it, Buster! Oh my god, so sweet. They talk about Ouroboros, too. The society! So with that... Oh, here's Randy hitting on Kilika, I guess. Who's she talking to? Oh, she's talking to one of the bracers with the headband. Where's Anton? I could have sworn I took a screenshot of Anton, but maybe I can't. Oh! Okay, wait a minute here. Right here! These guys are from the Bobcat, from Libero with the Kapua family. Her ladyship. They're talking about Josette. And you see that ship right there? That's the Bobcat. What's the Bobcat doing in Crossspell, bro? What is the Bobcat doing in Crossspell? See, that's why you gotta play the Sky games first, so you can see shit like this. And it's like the Bobcat's right there, and Arios is just chilling. Oh my god, so fucking awesome. Anyway, then we see our boy Lecter. Lecter Arundel. What a legend, man. What a legend. So, yep, make the way to Schwarz auction. Of course, we see our boy wait. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, here it is. Find me. Yeah, you see these things throughout. And that's Kie telling Lloyd to find her. There's Wazzy, the male escort. And you can pick your wife of your choice. I chose Ellie, obviously, because she's just beautiful. And that's basically Lloyd and Ellie are dating. If you choose Tio, it's his younger sister. And Randy is just the two bros. Ellie makes the most sense. So, yeah, she's like snuggling up to him. And Lloyd, because it's like, name please? Oh, Guy Bennings. Like, okay, bro, Guy Bennings, that's a good name to use. And this idiot scares us from behind. He goes fishing. You see, yeah, Imelda, she's from the shop in the back alley. Don Marconi and Speaker Hartman show up again. Maribel shows up. Which, yeah, so yeah, you run into this asshole, Garcia. Oh, God. So I mentioned before that Cal Lee is going to prepare after the festival's over. And Yin shows up here, so that's what he meant. And he's on edge thinking about Cal Lee and Heiyui. And then he asks, you know, who the hell are you? Well, Guy Bannings. I've heard that name before. Yes, he has. And then Maribel shows up to distract him. And then up here you see Yin attack the mafiosos. And Yin tells us right here. Yeah, she knows who Wazzy is. She knows who all of us are. So yeah, she says go in there. There's a bomb, so to speak. And the bomb turns out to be this little girl, Kie, in the trunk. So, like, that connects Cow and all them. So, like, were they the ones who got Kie? Because how the hell did Kie get out of the Sun Fort? I still have no idea. But yeah, she wakes up and she's just the cutest little thing. She wakes up like, oh, what's your name? Who are you? And she has no memory. All she knows is her name is Kie. What does Kie stand for? What if, like, it's an abbreviation for something? And the A stands for Azure? Like the key to Azure? I don't know. I'm just talking nonsense now. This video has gone on so long, it's never ending. So anyway, they make their escape. And oh, she calls Lecter a weirdo. Yeah, what a weirdo. You're right about that one, at least. But Lecter bails us out. We make our escape. And here's more connection to the other games. Erebonia's Reinford Company. And then you fight Garcia Rossi in an epic boss fight. Heiyui. Capiche! Which... Did I get the quote from Wazzy? Where is it? when they leave here, Wazi says, "Arrivederci." Anyway, you have this epic fight, and Randy's powering out with the war cry, and he acknowledges him as the Red Reaper, son of the war god. And then Chief Sergei shows up with Zeit, and we're able to get away. And yet, so they mention that about Kie, and Garcia has no idea. They don't know, because Kie was never supposed to be in the trunk, and Garcia has his own beliefs. He would never do that to a kid. At least I don't think. Just crazy, man. And then with the escape, we see Lecter and Kilika talking to each other, how they both saved their asses. And yeah, again, Kilika, she's from Calvard, and Lecter, who's Gileath Osborne's right-hand man from Arabonia. So they make their escape. And then this is the intermission, just the sweetest chapter. Oh yeah, Randy had all the nicknames for everybody. He calls Ellie Madame Muselli and Tio Tot. And then Tio comes racing in like, "Oh, they picked out these new clothes for me." And anytime Kie, like, sees Lloyd for the first time in a while, she gives him a hug. And just the sound effects of her, like, hugging him. Oh my god, it's so sweet. I'm so cute, look at me. So you go around with Kie, and you can talk to everybody. Like, she's questioning what the car is. It goes vroom vroom. And for the intermission, you can pick who you want to go with. I picked Ellie. Like, you can inspect Ilya sleeping. That's the loudest snoring I've ever heard. Oh, poor old man Quinn. He couldn't get any of his fishing done. So you can talk to everybody again, do all these different side quests. See Risha. Oh, this is great too. With Risha, where is it? She says, "Lloyd, check out her boobies. They're huge." That's not very polite, Kie. Oh, it's okay. Because Risha knows. And then Estelle wants to take her. Yeah, there's one with Michelle. Why is the old man talking like that? He sounds like a lady. And he says something like it's his pizzazz. I want to see, do I have a quote of him actually saying it? Maybe not, but that's his pizzazz. And this is with Abos. If Wazi has assessed the situation, there are no problems. His judgment is absolute. So at the church, they do this technique called, right here, thaumaturgy. And that's one of the abilities that Kevin used. Which, one thing I really love about this game is they portray the goddess, the god, or it's the goddess in this game, but in most cases the god is a villain. You know, you gotta kill God at the end of the game. But in this case, the goddess is good. I really like that. So you end up taking her to the hospital. And Cecile, you know, Cecile, how can she be a nurse and be like so so dim-witted sometimes? She asks if Kie is Ellie and Lloyd's daughter, and it's like, that's not even possible. We're both 18, and Kie, I mean, she's like 500 years old now, but she looks like she's no older than 10, right? So, not possible. And this asshole, he wants Kie back, and he suggests she spend the night to undergo these tests, and Kie's like, fuck that, you just want to get rid of me. Which couldn't be further from the truth. And this is an interesting line. I guess I didn't take the other screenshot, but she said, you know, because she doesn't have her memories, doesn't mean she doesn't want them. She's fine the way she is now. And she meets Shizuku, who's admiring the breeze and listening to the fish. And again, just my heart during these scenes. And she says that because Shizuku doesn't have her eyesight, Kie doesn't have her memory, so they're kind of the same in a way. And that's when you hear about her mother had passed. Oh yeah, and again, with these NPCs, you get like a little story within a story. Like, these guys, you can go to the hospital with every chapter, and they have new dialogue. And now he's getting out of the hospital. I guess I didn't show you the ones earlier, but again, I'd be going on for 5 hours if that was the case. And he's giving him the Hot Shot magazine. So then Arios shows up. And the two of them are fast friends. And Arios says that Shizuku can go visit Kie in Crossbell City. And this line, man, the fact that Arios is a complete badass, but he's like, oh, thank you for being friends with Shizuku. Just so awesome. And this is when shit really starts to hit the fan, where he says we're going to release the drug, and Garcia, again, a bad guy, but also knows what's going on. It's like, fuck that! Forget the police! The Bracer Guild will be on our asses! So this is coming back, and Kie comes running in, gives Lloyd a hug. The goodest girl! I read all the books! This was fascinating, too, showing that there's more to meets the eye. She wants to help Lloyd with cooking, and she starts glowing. And is able to cook something real good. Bone apple tea! So Noelle shows up and says, we gotta go to the Moon Temple. There's a sighting of ghosts. Ellie's freaking out. She's afraid of ghosts. I promise we're almost done. We're in chapter 4. There's 2 left. So they do that. Oh, before that, there's Anton. Anton's all pissed off because he can't find love. Which, that was the main plot in Sky, FC, and SC. Him going around finding love. I think he was, the main woman he was after was Ina, Shara's friend from Roland. And they had the drink off with Oliver and all of them. So, eventually, you figure out that the woman who got the wallets was Fran. So, once they got a gift for Fran, and they end up taking him to lunch with Fran, and they're all eavesdropping. And he doesn't know what to do. And then Fran is saying that she loves someone, and Anton's like, oh no, my heart's been pierced. But she loves Noelle, and he didn't hear the end of the story there. And then Noelle gets really pissed, so he runs off. Noelle gets really pissed. And asks Fran, who's the person you're in love with? I'm thinking it's Lloyd or something. Is it Lloyd? Don't tell me it's Randy. No, it's you. So eventually, I made my way over to the Moon Temple. Again, we got some Trails of the Sky the Third vibes, and Tio mentioned the higher elements being present again. And the ghosts show up. Ghosts! Which all these enemies were just like Sky the Third. These in particular, Dead Man. So in Sky the Third, when you go to Gehenna, you fight these things, which are basically the spirits of people who were killed in the living world. And one of them was a little boy who was subjugated by the D, therefore G cult. And Kevin actually had to kill the kid to put him out of his misery. So eventually you see like this iconography on the ground. And Lloyd acknowledges it can't belong to the church. And Tio knows what it is. It's a ritual chamber to offer sacrifices. And then you hear the theme, Demonic Drive. Let me find this one for you right now. Hold on, where is it? The boss theme for this monster. And you fight the Archdevil. Which this music is right out of Sky the Third. What the heck? We're supposed to be cops, not exorcists. Yeah, you're telling me, Randy. And I get the bells! The bells of Crossbell! What does this mean? Well, you stop the bells, and it's clear skies. So eventually you get the call that this guy, Gantz, he's from the Mainz mining village, is made it big at the casino, and he's taking the Gnosis pills. Oh, here's, so you can see this in action. So, like, when Lloyd and the gang, whenever they'd show up, Kie would either be upstairs or sitting here reading, and Zeit's guarding the door, and she gets up real quick, and like, I'll a hug. And then she gives Tio a hug and recharges her. Because, yeah, Tio, they make note of her looking pale. Because she knows what that symbol is. And this is Grimwood talking to Sergei, talking about the child abductions in the Calvary Republic, the lodges of the D, therefore G cult. And this is at night when Heiyui gets assaulted by Ravach. There's a raid there. And one of the guys comes running up. These guys aren't human, I'm telling you. They're holding massive machine guns with just one hand. And they're taking the Gnosis pills, turning into fucking demons. And then Cowie's like, oh my. Which, like, what is this guy cooking? What is he hiding? So Heiyu's been raided. We gotta go check that out. You see Ravach, there's a ton of people there now. And then Dudley is like, I can't talk to Cow. He's too cunning. So it's your problem now. Hello, my friends. What's this one I took? That's right. Yeah, because they knew about Kie. And then you see Garcia, who they mentioned is looking very disheveled. Because, again, he doesn't approve of what Marconi's doing right now with the Gnosis pills. Calls him the son of the war god again. And then Grace helps us out. This is when Lecter defeats Gantz at poker. He gets a straight flush, and then Lecter gets 5 aces, essentially, the Joker. And they find the pills on Gantz. And they decide to take them to the hospital. This is the scene, too, when we, Oh, that's the Gnosis theme playing in the background. This theme song sent shivers down my spine the first time I heard it. But yeah, they put the flowers there. And that's the first time the other party members acknowledge the death of everybody. I wanted to give the flowers to families of those that were precious to Guy Bannings. And let's get the names again. So yeah, we got Saya McLean. That's Arios' wife. It just has to be. That name, which we don't quite know, 1198. And then Guy, 1201. Oh, here's Anton going back home to Liberal. Fran didn't really necessarily reject him. I mean, come on, bro. Poor dude. Oh, you fight these monsters at the Rosenberg studio. And this is when Joachim tells us about Gnosis, true wisdom. Which, after hearing all this, Tio faints. She gets pale and faints. And what I loved about this scene so much is just showing all the characters and what they do is, you know, Tio faints and Lloyd and Ellie console her right away, and then Randy runs as fast as I've ever seen him run to get help. Just showing, like, his true nature and being, like, the older brother of the group. And they nurse her back to health, and this is when she tells them about the D, therefore G cult. Because, you know, she heard the phrase Gnosis and knows that that's what they gave her. Yeah, okay, so I should probably go through all this then. She was held captive by the cult. And by rejecting the goddess, worshipping the devils, with all sorts of experimentation. And Lloyd's brother, Guy, along with Arios and Sergei, were the ones who broke into the lodge and rescued her. I cried during this scene too, man. So that's where she was telling part of the story to Lloyd, and that Guy had escorted her home. And hearing Gnosis brought back all those memories. And that's why she is more so the, like, early on you think she's the quiet type because she's so young compared to the rest of our heroes. But as you play more of the game, that's one of the reasons too, because she has some fucked up shit that happened in her past. And they all try to tell her that, well, we're all broken in our own ways, Tio Tot. And we're going to help you live your life. And that's why I think Tio is probably the most interesting and most important character of the main four, because of her connection to the cult, also to Ren in a certain way, to Lloyd's brother Guy, in that, you know, really Lloyd is the only other guy connected to Guy. Tio is, you know? So, and Ellie hugs her, and Randy says, we'll find all our answers. Don't worry, we're not going to do it alone. Just an excellent, excellent scene. Everything about this game is excellent. And, okay, yeah, this is... So Tio's going to bed, and oh, this is sweet, too! Zeit is in the room guarding, and Kie is sleeping with Tio, because they said before that Kie kept sleeping with Lloyd. So she likes sleeping with a parental figure. So she's with Tio. And then this is where we get the reveal about how Sergei, along with Arios, worked with Guy, and that's why the SSS has been formed now. And there they are. And the D, therefore G cult. First name drop. Out of my decades of service on the Force, this group were the most disgusting pieces of shit I've ever had the displeasure to encounter. Such a badass line. The bastards used those kids they kidnapped as sacrifices at their lodges. Fucking bastards. This is the most evil of all the groups, without a doubt. And actually, Estelle, during the final battle against Gunter, she makes note of that. Like, Weissman was a piece of shit, but he doesn't compare to you and the cultists. And that's Cassius again, with all the others. And Zin! I don't know who the one with the hat is. Maybe someone can leave a comment, or if that's too much of a spoiler, then I'll just have to figure that out as I keep playing. But yep, he rescues Tio. In Altair. Tio is only 8 years old. She's 14 now. And that's what they said, that they used the kids because they were easier to, well, number one, control, but they were more susceptible to actually experience the experiments as opposed to humans who turn into fucking demons. Yeah, so 6 years ago, the bracers and the police all exterminated them, and we know that Ouroboros, at least with Lo and Joshua, took down Paradise, and the church doesn't stand for that bullshit either. And I just found it so fascinating, the fact that Ouroboros, the villains that we've seen thus far, and for as evil as they are, they don't tolerate the child abusing cultists. So that's one up for Ouroboros. And yes, and even at the end of this game, we don't know who killed Guy Bannings. I think it's another cultist, but I don't know who. I don't know who. Overcome the barriers. So they're all good, ready to go on their next adventure. Have a good day. Oh, thanks, Kie. So, what's over here? Oh, yeah, if you go back to all the towers again, you can fight stronger monsters. What's this? I think this is something about the church. Yeah, they're talking about the artifacts. So the artifacts, man, like the Recluse Cube and the rod, the Chronos rod. So are the bells artifacts? The three bells in Crossbell, are they artifacts, and that's why they can summon the demons? Oh my god, my mind is just going crazy right now. So, eventually, Dudley says no one is at Ravach, and then we gotta go explore that. And we do. And then at the end, you find this giant mech that wields a sword. So you fight him. And then in Marconi's safe, you see these receipts, as well as Guy Banning's badge. And then, oh, some more. This is the finale. So, Ren says everyone has their invitations now, because she's going to try and kill Gunter. And talks to Rosenberg. And you see on the door, that's the Ouroboros logo. But then, Rosenberg says, Crossbell is a neutral zone between Ouroboros and the Septian Church. So meaning that neither of them get involved in Crossbell. But what is he doing in Crossbell? And then the name drop of Ouroboros' sixth Anguis, Professor Novartis, who created Patamater. And then we see Patamater. Come forth, Patamater! So they're all holding a meeting, figuring out what the hell to do. Going for the next battle. And you can have one last goodbye to Guy. Just watch me, Guy. So Dudley ends up calling them and saying, have you heard back from the doctor? They said no. So they make their way and they find the bus. First of all, the bus is here. Everyone's waiting in line. And they go to the abandoned bus. And as they continue walking, it turns out to be nighttime. And the hospital... Oh, such fitting music, too. Back to Inevitable Struggle. The gate is locked. And the guard's not there. And then the mafia shows up. And now they're demons. They're demonic. And Yin shows up to help us in battle. Risha. So you go in here and save all the nurses. This scene was great too, where Cecile is going to sacrifice herself to rescue Michael. And Lloyd and Guy, or Lloyd and the whole gang show up. And as you continue up, we see this fucker, Ernest, which I forgot about Ernest. Like, Ernest was in chapter 2, he gets arrested, and then he's here. And he's got red eyes, which he had blue eyes before. And he breaks out this demon sword. Everything is going to his comrade's plan. The High Priest. So after the fight, he jumps out the window, and you're able to go through these files, and that's where you learn about the blackmail, about Speaker Hartman, how he went to Paradise. Absolutely unforgivable. You can read between the lines and understand. I've already said what he is. So going through it, Tio recognizes, you see her expression, she recognizes who these people are. Those sick bastards. And we see a picture of young Tio. Poor girl. But Randy tries to be optimistic about it, saying that, well, you've seen better days. And then as they continue going through the files, we see Ren. And Ren and Tio are the only survivors of all these lodges. And then there's Kie, the center of it all. That son of a bitch. And they think back to that. Yeah, he wanted her to stay at the hospital. And what if Kie had like that intuition and she knew not to stay at the hospital? And then Ren shows up and she's saying that, oh, I'm part of Ouroboros. I'm going to see this through and kill this son of a bitch. And again, if you play the Sky Gaze, look at this. You work alongside the Dire Wolf, Walter. Yes. So Yin fought Walter. And then she says, oh, Blue Block. Yeah, Blue Block. Phantom Thief B. High Priest of the D, therefore G cult. Unbelievable. So Ren's going there to kill him. And she flies off with Patamacher. We have Noelle and Sonia show up to defend the hospital. And Cecile sees us off. Right? And then, oh, just keep going, man. So Dudley's here. And they're talking more about what's going to happen. And Lloyd says, all right, well, let's just send her to Libero. That has to be the only safe place. We can have Estelle and Joshua take her. And then we get a... Well, actually, did I not show the phone call? Because there was a phone call first calling the Bracer Guild. And the Bracer Guild, Michelle answers the phone and it gets shot up. And remember, look right here. We have Shizuku and Kie. And the Bracer Guild gets shot up. Zeit starts howling. And Tio, we're surrounded, watch out. And Sergei's giving him orders. Dudley will watch their six, and he pulls out a shotgun. So, the Guardian Force from Belgard, from Erebonia's side, the west, they were all given gnosis, and they're mind controlled now by Joachim, and they start attacking Crossbell. And you see like all the townspeople through all the different areas, because we run from screen to screen trying to get out of here. And everyone's making note of it. And again, like Randy, the chivalrous knights protecting little Shizuku there. Risha, the lady that snores really loud. And Ilya's like, I'm gonna get in a fight. We're in an action novel. And another interesting piece of dialogue here, hopefully I got it from Speaker Hartman, which maybe not, but Speaker Hartman's like, oh, that they betrayed me? Yeah, talking about Ravach. Or maybe about Gunter. This is an epic line too. Ready, Dudley? Time to show this old fogey what the 1st Division's ace detective is made of. Huh, right back at ya. I'm curious to see what the man who led the force's most legendary squad can do. And look at this, we got 2, 4... We got 8 guys, a vehicle over there, and these 2 badasses are going to defend it. Awesome. So Michelle tells us to just go east, keep going. You end up fighting some more guys, get surrounded again. And then Dieter Kreuz in his armored limousine shows up. Come on, kid. Get in. We don't have time. Just get in, kid. So they go back to the IBC because they have a impenetrable wall. And you get some really sweet character moments. Which Maribel's jealous because, you know, we have Ellie in our grasp. And this is where you get the bonding scene for all your characters. I got the one with Ellie. But I did make save states and saw all the other bonding scenes. So, in this one, it's like a romantic scene between him and Ellie. And she hugs him. And then Lloyd turns around, let's say. Believe in yourself, Lloyd Bannings. The part of you that loves your brother and the part that's always struggling to catch up to him both make you who you are. That's the Lloyd Bannings that no, that's the Lloyd Bannings that I adore. All I ask is that you keep being you. And they're getting ready to kiss when they hear, like, the bell. Okay, we gotta go. Like, come on, you should have kissed her. Ellie's cheek was so soft. Come on, Lloyd. Now, I have the screenshots for the other one, but they're out of order. And I'll just briefly say, so the one with Tio is she saying that she was only sent there for the Epstein Foundation, and perhaps after this assignment, she'll be moved. And Lloyd's like, no, you'll never leave the SSS. And then she says, you know, Guy gave me a promise, but he can never keep it, so you gotta keep the promise and take me to Michelin amusement park. And Lloyd agrees, so they're gonna go to the amusement park together. And then with Randy, you learn more about his past with the Red Constellation, how he killed people, so many people he lost count. And you know, Lloyd and Randy have a nice bro chat, and it's a beautiful thing. So, oh, you can't spell love without Ellie. Is that right? So then you talk to everyone once again. Kie's like, no, don't go. Where are you going? Well, we got to go for the final battle. And the final battle, I think there's like 8 waves of guys you fight. And in between each battle, you see people cheer you on. That's why I keep going back to Cal. Like, he's not that bad, right? He's going to help us in the next game. And he says, but they are holding their own. They are full of surprises, aren't they? And then you see more of them. Grace, where she's like, come on, guys, you gotta pull through. I'm gonna get the cover story. Come on, the best damn article the city's ever seen. And then even Lecter shows up, I think. Oh, fuck, I never even talked about Muriel. Okay, so in Belgard Gate, we never see, like, the commanding officer of Tangram. That's Sonia. And then Noelle is beneath Sonia. And at Belgard, the commanding officer is never there. And Muriel, who's the second in command, the warrant officer, she's always around. And it seems like Randy has a well, he has a thing for all the ladies, but it seems like he had a past relationship with Muriel. And the fact he got to fight Muriel, it pisses off Randy. I think he has a quote like, "Damn it all! What the hell is this bullshit?" And Randy loses it, and he starts doing the war cry charge. And Lecter, he's watching, which, I want to show you the... Is it this one? I think it's this one. Yeah, okay. Let me put the audio back on, because this is Randy's S-Craft called Death Scorpion. Just watch this. Look at that, man! 8 of them! What a legend! So Randy the legend, man! Absolutely incredible. But before that, he says everything's going according to Old Man Gilead's plan. Gilead Osborne is the villain of this whole series. I'm telling you. So yeah, after the battle, then the spirit of Joachim shows up, and he's like, "Oh, very good, we'll kill you." And he wants him to hand over Lady Kie, so we can achieve the Promised Land. Return Lady Kie, Kie-sama. She's just an innocent girl, and this such great dialogue, man. And Randy had nicknames for everyone. He called her Kido. He called Ellie Mademoiselle. And Tio Tot, among other nicknames. Bring it on, asshole! such a legend. And then Kie shows up and is like, "No! Don't hurt them! I'll go with you if I have to." And she starts glowing, showing her innate powers. And this playing right now is actually the final dungeon theme called A Light Illuminating the Depths. So... just really excellent scenes here. And they're pleading with Kie not to go with this asshole. And Zeit, even he starts growling like, "No, don't go, Kie. You fools! You will have a slow, painful death!" Okay, I got one more, we'll pause this again. We're gonna watch this, because this is probably the most epic scene of the entire game. Are you ready for this?
その必要はない。あなたは八王一刀流。
8 leaves 1 blade. Look at him. Watch this. Oh shit! Arya's saving the day. Holy fuck! One shot in everybody. Strike! Oh! Divine Blade will win, you're damn right. Yeah, he planned it, right, Tio? And the other 2 badasses show up. Too old for this shit. Some unexpected assistance, and then you see the unlikely team up. More of these Gnosis guys, and then Wazzy and Wall teaming up to defend. Oh shit! Where's Abos though? You would think Abos would be right there helping too. Several fold? That's right, yeah, a bunch of the people in Crossbow are missing before these events happened. So again, these guys are buddies, I have a feeling. Something happened in their past that caused them to have their separate rival gangs. It's beatdown time! Yeah, and then the Testaments and the Saber Vipers both show up. Kicking it, look at this! Oh, there's Amos, he does show up! Preparations are complete, on your command, Wazi! Oh shit! Begin the crusade. Oh damn! Look at this! Fucking hell! All right, I think that's enough. Maybe it goes on longer, but you get the idea. It's just this game is fucking awesome, man. It's fucking awesome. We're almost done, guys. This is gonna be like a 3-hour video. I apologize. You can watch it in chunks. So anyway, they decide they're gonna go to the final battle. I already showed you the scene with Noel, and in between that, we see the chief is driving. He gets shot up. You see all the bullet holes there. His light's coming along. I'm not letting you guys down. What happened to our chief? Who's this old man? And then, yeah, Noel saves the day. Sonya's pride and joy. Eh? You saved our asses, kid. And we make it to the ancient battlefield where we see Estelle and Joshua. And they open the door. And, yeah, they confirm that's Dr. Gunter is the one responsible for Estelle's tragic past. So, they're going down. Let's do it! And you get this epic, epic dungeon, which the song we just heard before, we'll play it again, Illuminating the Depths. This song plays throughout the whole dungeon, and it's just so good. And for the dungeon, I used Estelle and Joshua, but for the final boss, I went back to the main group, Lloyd, Ellie, Tio, and Randy, because I feel we had to end the final boss of the, you know, the final party members. And yeah, you see, like, this is a D, therefore G cult place, and they summon another demon, and they say, like, Phantasma! Yeah, like Sky the Third. I played Sky the Third, don't worry. And this is the start of the game. So, right here, that's the quote from the very beginning of the game. The exact same quote, except minus Estelle and Joshua, because I didn't want to spoil them first thing. And this is great. I didn't really go over many of the chest messages, but this one in particular. An unassuming looking middle-aged scholar who turns out to be evil. In my Trails game, it's more likely than you think. What happened with Weissman and it happened with Gunter now, so it's gonna happen at all, I guess. And yeah, these mafia guys show up and they turn into these demons. A walking nightmare. And then you get these files about the D, therefore G cult. The Great Collapse, all this crazy stuff. So then you rescue these people. These are all being held captive. You rescue them. Funny because one of them works at the Orbital shop and one works as a trader. So it's your last time to buy items because I mean you can't leave this area because you know the chief drove you here, so you can't leave. So there's a couple guys you can buy items from or upgrade your ornaments, and then you rescue Don Marconi. And Lloyd asks about Guy. And he knows who Guy is. And it's like, why do you have his badge? And, like, he said before that he killed him, but now he says we weren't the ones who killed him. But again, why does he have his badge? And yeah, Garcia, again, Garcia's a villain. But he opposed them from using the drug and has his own set of principles and rules that he follows. So then you fight this fucker again, Ernest. And he turns into Demon Ernest. Right here. And he's got 2 dragons. What's this? A vampire. I don't know why I took that. I took so many fucking screenshots. Eventually you fight Garcia, who took the pills against his will. But he doesn't turn into a demon. And more references to Sky. He's just as big as Zin. Yeah, we know Zin. And Randy's like, don't do it! I'm the Red Reaper, son of the War God! Which early on he hated that name, and then he uses it to snap him out of it. So he passes out. Before he passes out, does he say other stuff? The Killing Bear. I might owe you. So yeah, Garcia's not that bad. That bastard. I knew he was slimy from the moment I laid eyes on him. Huh. Can't say we don't deserve it after this sorry-ass display. Son of the War God. And Lloyd, right? You guys might get on my nerves, but that guy pisses me right the hell off. Listen here. You will not lose them. So I like Garcia, man. He was cool. I like him. So, the final battle. We're gonna go after the fucking cult leader. And that's the spear we saw Kie in. And that's when she was talking to the sister at the church. She says the dark place. And that's it. Yep. Joshua knows he's a piece of shit. So we confront him. Hand over lady. Well, Kie's not even with us, bro. She's back in Crossfell. Enough of your bullshit! You truly are the sickest individual to have ever existed. This guy's got the same twisted personality of the professor, Weissman, she's talking about. Even Weissman wasn't this. I know, right? Even Weissman wasn't as bad as this fuck up. So yeah, Kie was here 500 years ago. And she's going to be the true god. So this guy rejects Adios. And Tio gets these flashbacks about her time in the lodge. And he remembers Tio. And yeah, he's a complete monster. And I love this quote from Randy, too. Never thought I'd meet someone more screwed up than my own family. And we haven't even seen Randy's family. So, they're talking more about Paradise. And that's, again, they don't outright say about Paradise. They abused the children in more ways than just the experiments they did. It was a brothel for the most sickest individuals. Speaker Hartman, one of them. And that's what they did. So they're just talking more about that. And he mentions how Ouroboros was the one who destroyed the Paradise Lodge, which it was. And talking about the loss of the subject, Ren. And I love this line from Lloyd. High Priest Joachim Gunter of the D therefore G cult. In accordance with state law, you are hereby under arrest on the charges of assault, disturbing the peace, unlawful occupation of property, drug use, and child abuse. And his hair changes color. And now they start fighting. And you get the final boss. So after that, he uses Weissman's evil eye. Again, more and more callbacks, dude. And he talks about their adventure, the Liber Arc and Phantasma from Sky's second chapter and Sky the third, of course. Which, how the hell does he even... Well, I guess... No, he knows because the evil eye can read their thoughts. And this line, Weissman, from the looks of it, we would have gotten along quite well. Yes, but Weissman probably would have said, you're fucked up, man. I'm fucked up, but you're even more fucked up. So, he's doing this to take Kie, turn her into the true god. And Morgan! This guy may as well be Weissman's little brother. Yeah, I guess so. And Lloyd's trying to get the answers, because again, we still don't have these answers. Who put Kie in the trunk in the Schwarz auction, and who killed Guy Bannings? And he's like, ha ha ha, what a plot twist. He's not telling us. So he wanted to get Guy killed because he was causing problems. So Ravash was going to kill him. And someone else killed him before Ravash could do it. So, yeah, they break through because it's just an imitation of Weissman's evil eye. And then that's when he takes out his red pills and ODs with the red gnosis. The almighty D. What is the D? Because the G stands for gnosis. And he turns into this beast. Is that the D? The demon? Yep. Weissman and the Septerion. So you fight this guy. It's actually a pretty decently easy boss fight. You just have to watch out. There's a couple of platforms, and because he has like other enemies that help him. If you attack them on the platform, you'll vanish. The vanish status effect, which if all four of your guys do that at the same time, it's game over. So anyway, after like 3 phases, he still keeps attacking, and then all of a sudden, you hear the laughter, and Ren and Potamater show up, and she says, "Double Buster Cannon!" and fires away. And this was just like in Sky FC, after you fight the mech, the Reverie Dragon, whatever the hell it was called. Cassius shows up, wounds him, and then you all have full HP, EP, and crafts points, and you can just spam your S crafts. And that's exactly what we do. And after that, in the end, Joachim actually says, "Thank you. You have my thanks." So he dies. And that's the end there. And now that he's been defeated, you know, we got to go back and quell the suffering of Crossbell. And then Ren talking about Lo's heroism, like, you know, because she saved our asses. And she's settled all our past grievances. Again, seeking out her parents and killing Gunter. And she's ready to go. But Estelle and Joshua are like, "No, don't go, Ren. We've been looking for you for 6 months. Don't go." And Estelle keeps pleading with her. And Ren won't look at her, which is such an emotional scene, man. Where she won't look. And she turns completely around and says, I'm going. I gotta go. After meeting wonderful people like you and Lo, I've become a better person. And the person you are today, I can't help but love with every last bit of my heart. And what happens is Ren orders Potamater to leave, and Potamater doesn't follow her orders and instead walks forward and lowers his arm, and Estelle hugs her from behind and says, "Caught ya," and it's, oh my god, it's just, reminds me so much of Sky the Third's ending, when everyone said goodbye, everyone had their heartfelt goodbyes, and Ren asked, why is everyone so happy when they should be sad saying goodbye to everybody, and Estelle had the quote like, you know, we have to cherish the moments we have with each other because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. And Sky the Third confessed how much he loved Ren, and Ren was like, I hate you, I hate you. And then it was like, ... but I also love you. And she's finally able to accept that fact. And says, oh, come home. You can see Tita. It's been so long since you've seen her. Starts crying. I was crying. And Randy says it best. Didn't think I'd be shedding a tear today. So as they make their way out of the Sun Fort, they see the sunrise. And you hear Kie's like, Lionel! Goes running and gives him a hug. And you see everybody. Zeit, the chief, Detective Dudley, Sonia, and Noel, Arios. And, oh, Kie's crying. Lloyd, Ellie, Tio, Randy, you're all okay. The heroes of the hour. So everyone's acknowledging what a great job we did. Guy would have been proud of you. And then even Grace shows up. Come on, get in for a group photo. And everyone gets in for the group photo. And notice everyone's standing there just like that. But as we go to the next one, we see it's a little different in that Ellie seems to make like a little pose. And then Dudley with his glasses. Dudley, why are you, like, fixing your glasses? And I think Randy's doing a fist pump. And I love this photo so much, man. Like, I love video games so much. And I'm so happy over the past few months I decided to dive into the Trails series. Because if you couldn't already tell, for whatever reason you're still even watching this video, I love this game. I loved all the games. And this was just such a beautiful ending. I still think Sky the Third's ending is the best, but, you know, after finishing it, it's just incredible. And Dieter Kreuz becomes the new mayor of Crossbell. Stella, Ren, and Joshua go back to Liberal. And it's just so sweet. And then Kie gets her bag, and she's ready to go to Sunday school. And she's like, I'm going to go with my friends, walk to Sunday school. Which, in the intermission, you can take her to Sunday school, and she meets all the kids, and I'm Kie! Nice to meet you! And they're all apprehensive, like, oh, we can't let her go alone. Like, well, I'll walk her to Sunday school. I guess he could send Zyke to walk her to Sunday school, right? Because he can find his way back. And it ends just like that, with everyone waving goodbye, and oh my god, I love this game so much. It was such a great experience. And at the end here, with Kie in that sphere, the Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero has reached its conclusion, but the story is not yet over. We'll see you again at Journey's End with Azure. And I already showed the other stuff. These are just more screenshots of what's going on. I guess I can show you like the funny dialogue. So, taking Tio to the auction. Yeah, she says that it's like her their brother and sister, they could get married. And then it was funny with Cecile, where she asks if Kie is their kid. I'm 14 years old. And this is the bonding scene where Lloyd agrees to take her to the amusement park. And then again, you get to go with Randy. And this was great too, because he says he's guy bandings, and then Randy just looks like Randy. So Garcia definitely notices who they are. And then in this scene, Randy tells about his past with the Red Constellation Jaegers. So yeah, guys, I absolutely love this game. How long have I been gone? Yeah, 2.5 hours. That's my longest Trails video yet. So obviously, I couldn't edit this video because it's like, what the fuck, man? It's just not happening. So we're just doing a straight stream of consciousness, and hopefully people listen to this and enjoy it. But my prediction as to what's going to happen in the next game, I'm going to base this off the cover of Trails to Azure, which we'll just read the back. The back says, "A hero's duty, a city's fate. Join Lloyd Bennings and the ragtag crew that make up the special support section as they encounter new adversaries who seek to disrupt the peace within Crossbell." On the cover, to the left side, we have Kie taking up the whole left side. And then in the middle, well, to the right, with the characters, we have Lloyd, Ellie, Tio, Randy. Then we have Noel, Wazi, Dudley, Arios, and then Risha in the yin attire, but not wearing the yin mask. And on the back, we see Ellie, Lloyd going fishing, of course, and then Lloyd and Ellie doing a combo craft. So Kie is obviously the central focus of Trails to Azure. I have no idea what Trails from Zero even means after beating the game. Like with the Sky games, it's called Trails in the Sky because of the airships and the Liber Arc, the floating city in the sky, so that's why. Zero, if I had to guess, was like, you know, we start from zero, and Azure is a shade of blue, mainly depicting the blue skies. So putting the two together, it's like from zero to the blue skies. I don't know, that's just what I think, but who the hell knows. I think at the end of the game, Garcia, Marconi, Hartman, Ernest, they're all still alive. So it'll be curious to see, like, what happens to them. Are they get arrested now? I would think they're all going to be arrested, and maybe Like, is that it for their story? I would have to think they continue their story. I think Estelle, Joshua, and Ren will appear again. I don't know how, but I just think they will, because they appeared in all the other games so far, so I think they'll appear. I think we'll get other characters from the Sky games to appear in Zero, as well as, well, new characters, obviously. It'll be interesting to follow the political struggle, because we already know how corrupt the politicians were in Zero, but now that Mayor McDowell has stepped down and Dieter Kreuss is the new mayor, what does that mean? Although looking at the, oh, I didn't take a screenshot of that, did I? But there was the thing earlier in the extras menu that showed he won by a lot. So will he be able to quell the peace in Crossbell? And I have to believe Ouroboros finally shows up, because they were name dropped quite a lot. Rosenberg has the 13th factory in Ouroboros, and they mentioned Dr. Novartis. I feel like we're going to see Dr. Novartis, because wouldn't Patomater have a tracking device in it so we can find out where the hell it is? And he just let Ren go do her own thing for 6 months? Because in Sky the Third, they mentioned that with Blue Blanc. He was like, yo, she's gone to Crossbell. And then you also had the meeting with Campanella, the Grandmaster, and all the other, the 6 other Anguises, where they talked, I think it was called the Phantasmal Blaze Plan, and everything's going, despite Weissman's death, everything is going according to their plan. So I can't wait to see what happens next in Trails to Azure. I realize this video went on way too long. I don't know. What can I say? There's a lot to say about the game. I love the game. I can't wait to start Azure. I mentioned earlier, again, if you see my 3 Trails in the Sky videos, they're all heavily edited. Lots of stuff going on. This is more, you know, off the top of my head, whatever. But, I don't have the time to sit down and edit a video. I gotta start Trails to Azure, but I still like to talk about it. So, people who did watch this, hopefully you enjoyed. You don't have to watch it all in one sitting, but, you know, watch a few minutes here and there and leave some comments or leave a like. It'd be greatly appreciated. And I promise you, I will Let's Play all the Trails games, but I want to finish playing the games for the first time on my own. And then after that, go back, start from Sky FC, and play them all. And I really liked how, like, in Sky the Third, at the end of the game, we had 16 party members. But in this game, we only had 4 party members for the most part, and then a 5th party member, and then at the end, Estelle and Joshua are returning. So it was nice, similar to Sky First Chapter, which I think in that game, you ended up having 8 party members in the end. You slowly but surely get introduced to them all. And early on, as I said, the characters are very cliche, but that couldn't be further from the truth. And they're all great characters, and I'm curious to learn more about their backstory. I feel of all the backstories, the ones we know the least of is still Randy. And I wonder what's going to happen with him. Maybe we'll see the Red Constellation yet. Maybe we'll see Randy's father. I mean, they mentioned him a couple times. Tio's is more or less resolved. I mean, maybe we'll see Ellie's parents, too. And I feel like we have to resolve the death behind Guy Bannings. That has to be resolved. So we'll end with this excellent theme. This song is actually called Zero no Kiseki, which is the theme song that plays during the title. And all the music, I might as well just go through it all. I know I mentioned some of it before, but all the tracks are just fantastic. Some of my favorites, this one, the Geofront theme. There's one called the Afternoon in Crossbell, which typically plays near the end of a chapter. The Wind from Libero, that's Estelle and Joshua's theme. There are like 4 different themes that play on each of the roads. So I love how for the overworld there's a different song for which direction you go in. So good, man, so good. And I'm really curious about Cao Li. You know, so with the party members, based on the cover here, I have to believe all the characters on the cover are in the party. So that means, and we already know that Wazzy and Noel, because they were in the party in this game, and Dudley, I can't forget him. And Risha, because Yin was in the party too. So they're all going to join. And the fact that Arios is on the cover, I wouldn't be surprised if Arios joins the party for like the final dungeon or something. And, you know, I want to say Kie joins the party too, because she's skilled with her abilities, of course. But I feel like maybe she wouldn't, because she's not a fighter and Lloyd is going to protect her, because at the end, they all said they're going to have joint guardianship of her, so he's like a daughter to... Kie's like a daughter to Lloyd. So he probably wouldn't want her to fight. But yeah, I think they're all going to be party members, and then Estelle and Joshua will probably come back. And then maybe we'll get more party members who we don't know. Like, imagine if Cal Lee joins the party. That would be pretty badass. I don't know why, but he just would. And I just want to acknowledge, on the cover, they all have the same outfits, except Wazzy looks like he's wearing a different outfit. And Noelle has, like, short shorts on. So, she looks cute, I gotta say, man. Who would Kevin pick as best girl for Trails to Azure? Well, in terms of looks, I would have to probably go with Risha. Because she's hot as hell. Or Ilya. Because I like my blondes. But in terms of, like, story and just character in general, it's Tia. Tia is the best girl. Just her backstory and her snarky remarks to Randy. Like, you know, Tia. But if we're talking looks and being men of culture, it's Risha. So that's how I'm going to end the video. Thank you guys for watching me waffle on for close to 3 hours. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about it. It's just a matter if people are going to watch it. So thanks, guys. Have a great day. And stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Mainly live streams. But I'll do some stuff on Trails to Azure. And maybe post some of the S-Crafts like Randy's F-Craft. And stuff like that. So thanks, guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Peace out.